Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope and I pray that we always do. Today is Tuesday, July the 26th. My God, man, this year is going by so fast, fellas. And everybody gets quiet on me. Lord Jesus, everybody get quiet. I say this year is going by so fast, and everybody gets so quiet, like they like they shocked,
Man, don't
like
be
they
jinxing us like that.
everybody got quiet. I said, "Oh my God!" Well, just to let you all know, I'm not important. I'm just a question asker. My name is Raheem, but we got two fellas here that's very important. These are my brothers from another mother, but we got the same fathers. This is Captain Leonard. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
And we got the same mama. It's called Earth.
Good morning,
Let's see.
Raheem and the Morning Glow family.
There you go. And Badger, good morning to you,
Good morning. It's
man. Leonard.
another
Wait,
beautiful and
go ahead,
blessed day
Badger.
we all get to share.
There you go. There you go. Man, they talking to more this morning. I didn't catch everything they were saying about the resurrection. What are they saying now? They're saying some numbers are
What?
coming
First
across.
of all, Raheem,
Yes.
what resurrection? I must have missed it.
No, insurrection.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Whoa.
My
Look
brain
here.
did like
Whoa.
four flips and went, what?
Look here. Whoa. Look here. That's how you say whoa. Boy, y'all something else.
Stop it.
Let us see. Which one? Wait a minute. Where that happened at?
I missed
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Exactly. It'll slip right by you, brother. You gotta be up on it. You gotta be up on it. Gotta be faster than that. Gotta be faster than that. What's on your heart, Lennon? What's going on with it?
um, the thing that's going on with it is, first of all, we have to uh, pay attention because it's something that's going to happen. I think that a lot of people are not expecting because they've been talking against it and they've been very skeptical about
Mm-hmm.
what the Department of Justice is going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because once we don't even know if the hearings have concluded, but
No.
more people are coming forward. Of course, this previous Secret Service issue with one, it's almost like I guess older people would compare it to the Watergate scandal about
Mm-hmm.
destroying records, right?
Yes. Yes.
Secret Service all of a sudden destroyed all the records
Mm.
of the text messaging and things of that nature on January the 6th, anything related to January the 6th.
Now,
No
just
evidence
just
can be
just for
found.
the record, is that illegal? Just for the record.
I'm not really sure. They the Secret Service. So
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you the behavior was unprecedented.
Mm-hmm.
It's not normal business
Mm-hmm.
for something so diabolical to just come up missing.
Just
No
out the blue.
trace. No
Yeah.
trace.
Mm-hmm.
That means someone is hiding something.
Absolutely.
It's not,
Absolutely.
it's great to get all of the information that you can, but I think more than enough information has been gathered for the Department of Justice to move forward. We see
Mm-hmm.
them making deals with people, and once deals are made, that lets you know that there is guilt all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when we're looking, we want to see what is the sentencing like. And I think that if there was a younger Congress, we would see a far greater punishment for what has
Mm-hmm.
happened.
What do you say? What do you say, Leonard, to the time frame? Is and I got to do the quote unquote due diligence, as they say, but is this taking a little too long with all the evidence that they have and everything that's on the table? Do you think it's taking too long?
No, no,
Mm-hmm.
not really at all. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Government is forever, and issues sometimes seem to last that long. However, it hasn't been a year.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't been a year of congressional hearing.
Mm-hmm.
6 months may not even do it.
Wow.
It usually takes the federal government at least 6 months to do almost anything.
Mm.
So this thing that folks think that it should be done, but you don't work up there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what all has to be done. Schedules have to be coordinated. All types of things. Just like people sitting in jail waiting on their day in court.
Yeah, and let's talk about that for a second. And Badger, a normal person would be in jail right now, would have been arrested, and they have to go through the procedure while they sit in the jail and wait for their day in court. Why do these people have the luxury of still being at home?
This is not a criminal procedure, by the way.
Yeah. Why do you think, Badger, they have the luxury of
What,
still being at
Trump?
home? Say it again.
What, Trump?
All of them that's being charged, but majority of them are still at home. Majority of them.
Well, I know eventually they're going to get most of them anyway, but as far as Trump goes, that tariff of his definitely let the corporations make a ton of money over the last 2 years.
Hmm. Okay, but
So,
we jump in topics. Let's talk about, why do you think they're still at home? Why? Because in a normal justice system.
I'm
Uh,
answering why I think they're home.
mm-hmm,
Trump helped make big companies gain money, and they put money in pockets of other people.
mm.
That's the way the government works.
So you're saying they bought pretty much they bought their freedom.
Absolutely.
Mm,
That's what rich people get to do all the time.
mm-hmm,
No matter what color or who it don't matter who they are.
mm-hmm.
Unless it's some absolutely heinous crime with all
Like
kinds of evidence.
maybe like an insurrection.
I'm starting to wonder.
Mm-hmm,
More and more people are coming out of the woodworks, and the funny thing is, it isn't people that are anti-Trump that's coming out saying all this. This is people that were in his own party.
mm-hmm.
So maybe some of them actually had a heart and went, "Wait, this was wrong."
Wow, wow.
So, I mean, from what I was reading and stuff, what 2,300 text messages. Um, um, let's see, Liz Cheney, people in his own family have been coming out, um, have come forward and been trying to tell American people the truth, but half half of our population is not the most intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
They can
Mm,
get tricked really quick with a silver tongue.
mm. Leonard, do you think they bought the do you think they're coming forward? Do you think they're coming forward because they want to do the right thing, or are they afraid? Everything's getting too close and they're getting afraid because of the fact that there is a possibility that they can go down.
Yes, but they have to show a willingness to cooperate. In exchange for the willingness to cooperate, it helps if there are any criminal charges made.
Mm-hmm.
The Attorney General has not done that yet. This is a civil hearing.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a legal action. It's just what it says. Congress is convening these sessions to
Mm-hmm.
gather information.
Mm-hmm.
It
So
is
there
the
are
part.
steps after this.
It's the Attorney General's job once that information has been gathered to start to this the procedure that a lot of people want to hurry up and get to, the
Mm-hmm.
arrest and things like that. People have been arrested, but you're not going to see no perp walk. You're not going to see all that. It's not
Mm-hmm.
that type of thing. They're
Mm-hmm.
most likely these people will turn themselves in if it gets to that point. You see now where they're volunteering to talk, and it's definitely going to be used in exchange for a deal if they are guilty.
Do you think the long-term goal is to get Trump?
I'm not sure about that long term goal. It would be definitely precedent setting,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not going to see an American president in handcuffs. You can hang that up
Mm-hmm.
if that's what y'all salivating over. That's not going
Mm-hmm.
to happen
Why not? If he's guilty,
because he's an American president.
they
And we
could
do
be.
not put American presidents in handcuffs.
Wow. So basically, what I'm hearing you say is he is what he think he is, and that's above the law.
No, he's not above the law, but he won't be treated as a regular citizen because he's not.
Mm.
You have to understand the president of the United States has valuable information.
Mm-hmm.
It's an asset to the United States. So he's not going to be thrown in general population in Angola State
Oh no no
Prison.
no 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 no. If anything, he'll go to Fred prison. I understand that part, but my thing is right here.
Exactly.
If he commits a crime, then he's not above the law, whereas he cannot be incarcerated.
But just
Why
like
can't he be?
but just like the Pope,
Mm-hmm.
when we had two popes alive,
Mm-hmm.
one of them was not able to be out and about because of the information and the
Mm-hmm.
position.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of how people feel, he's still president of the United States.
Mm. Badger, what do you say to that? If he committed the crime, certainly like an insurrection or something like that, do you think? And this is I'm asking you, Badger. Do you think he could be he should be incarcerated like anybody else? Maybe not in a state prison because he's not going to go there, but on a federal level, should he be incarcerated?
I think his tongue should be cut off.
See, Badger going a whole different direction. No. Should he
Well, if
be?
he's got a silver tongue and he swayed all these people to do it,
Should he be
just
incarcerated?
cut his tongue out.
No. Should he be incarcerated?
He should be executed
Yeah, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not
because
gonna
this
do
is
that.
what usually happens to people on that level in other countries. If you're making that, trying to make that comparison on what other countries do to their presidents,
Mm-hmm.
we have not had a president to be scrutinized at this level. Even Nixon was not arrested.
Mm-hmm.
You got to remember, there is a such thing as executive privilege.
I believe if I'm not mistaken, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he actually got a pardon.
Yeah, I thought, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there are lots of different things that could happen. We have not had this situation before, where the American president is part of a domestic terrorist plot to take over the U.S. government.
Mm-hmm.
We,
I
we,
tell
we
you,
just haven't.
yeah, I do agree with that. Not to this level anyway, not like
No,
this.
no.
But but my thing is, I stand on what I feel too. I think he should be incarcerated again, not on the state level, but definitely on the federal level because of what he did and his whole stance on bringing this thing forward. Let me go to Mr. Hicks. Mr. Hicks, good morning. How you doing this morning, sir?
Look, I'm doing fine, but I'm not going to comment. You're not going to hear I say, and I'm not going to say it this morning. So I'm listening.
Okay, but you don't think he should be incarcerated?
I think I've sort of been over this before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, look, history, research,
Mm-hmm.
we raw it all. I mean, look at the history.
Mm-hmm.
And look at the history. Like I said again, look at all the stand downs in terms of applying the law. I mean, just with it, and I don't go back no longer. Just go last to 2016 to now.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this is another. It's a furtherance of the same game. Our enemy is not a boogeyman. Our enemy is not one person, but a whole conspiracy designed to accomplish destruction of the Constitution in this station.
Mm-hmm.
It is on both sides. It's not a Republican. It's not Democrat. It's a conspiracy. Include a lot of people, military, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But
Everybody's involved.
but but everybody can read video of Trump. Everybody can have a good conversation. Feel good. We start beating up on Trump and start talking about what he's committed, what he's done, and turn a blind eye to all the other things that we witness right in front of us. To me, it's hypocritical.
Mm-hmm. Well, like Leonard said, there's never been anybody in office to date that's trying to overturn or overtake the government to that level or to that degree. Rico, what do you say to that? Should he be incarcerated? And
Yeah,
good
I mean, I
morning.
agree with everything he said,
Mm-hmm.
but to just stick to the point, what I'm saying, he should be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe what he's saying is the same way I feel. He should have, just like there's a lot more people in the past should have too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like he said, it goes all the way back to Andrew Jackson, just overlooking what the Supreme Court said and going through with the Trail of Tears.
Mm-hmm.
He said, screw the system, screw the protocol, screw the system that we put in place to work. And we just going to do what we want to do. But then you have the example. See, this thing called precedence. And I remember when they prosecuted Slobodan Milosevic from Yugoslavia for war crimes. I was like, wow, so you telling me that a person that ran a country with all that power can be held accountable by a court of law? This world court thing? Oh, okay. So that means that they shouldn't be able to just get away with murder. But then Trump said one day that he could kill somebody in the middle of Manhattan and get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how much of privilege and double standard exists in this country. People overlook that. When he just told you, look, man, there's some privilege out here, and I got it. And you think I got privilege now? Wait till I get to be president. I've been grabbing them by the coochie and walking up to them, kissing them. I just been doing everything I want to do, and everybody just praise me because I got money. And I got so much money, I'm going to ride into the presidency. And y'all think I was able to get away with stuff now? Wait till then. And he did it. He a president set a trendsetter.
Mm-hmm.
I think I want to overthrow the country. I want to be historic. I do believe that I'm one of the greatest people that ever existed. You see who I am, where I made it from? It's meant for me to be historic. As a matter of fact, screw history. I'm fixing to rewrite history. Y'all, we ain't giving up the election. But see, they got something in place for that. And he is supposed to be executed for that.
Mm-hmm.
Him and all his cohort.
Yep.
Based on what the law says.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, should he be prosecuted? Should he be incarcerated? Should he be executed? Just like Slobodan Milosevic was, he sure should. Now, if the United States do it, the world court should do it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, while they're doing that, they need to snatch up Bush and China for flying them planes into them buildings and trying to fool us into thinking we was attacked by terrorists. And they need to also grab them up for that weapons of mass destruction war we had and all these soldiers we lost on a lie. So I see where his is coming from, but at the same time, just address the question that you asked without getting a lot of confusion or going into a whole different direction. He should, just like a lot more in the past should have. But he crossed the line. He went way too far with what he did. Because now what he's done, he set another precedence. And the next time won't be so sweet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Curtis, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Morning, right now. What's going on, bro?
We asking a question, man. And I know we're talking about an ex-president of the United States of America. And good morning, Curtis. We're talking about an ex-president of the United States of America, but should Trump be incarcerated? Certainly not on the state level, but on the federal level for what he did and his hand in the insurrection and how he pulled it forward. Should he be incarcerated?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
There's no excuse for why he's not being incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
You can't find one. You got guys that serve 30 and 40 years for conspiracy. But that whole thing, all of the evidence that I've seen so far points straight to a conspiracy. A conspiracy to overthrow the American government. It is treason. What happened? Are we not looking at Benedict Arnold? Are we not looking at the dude and his wife that conspired to sell the arms, the Russia? Like, are we not looking at Ed Snowden? We said Ed Snowden was wrong like that. Dude, there ain't no other way you can twist that, man.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, I'm not that upset that it ain't happening. I mean, at this point, there ain't nothing else that you can do other than prosecute. Even if you don't win, you got to prosecute, because if you don't, the American people ain't going to believe. There's not going to be any more belief in the government. He should be prosecuted, bro, to the full extent of the law. But I'll land like this right here. I don't know if you remember this, Raheem, but do you remember about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, I want to say maybe a year into his presidency, little young rich Caucasian American brother killed that whole family in the car. He was drunk, didn't even have a license. He had took his mom and daddy's car and went to a party, got drunk, and he killed the whole family. And they
Mm-hmm.
let him go because they said that he was so rich that he didn't know what he did was
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Y'all know that?
Mm-hmm.
That we got, man. We got. I said it on here before. If y'all get a chance, watch the Sammy the Bull Gavano interview where he talk about Donald Trump. He tell you exactly what was going on. You know, like the the mob didn't touch him because he was always known in New York as the kid in the Eiffel Tower, right? But Daddy always kept him up away from him. That's number one. Number two, once he got old enough, what he used to do, was if you was retired from the FBI or the CIA, he would hire you as a freelance bodyguard. So all his bodyguards that was around him was ex-FBI, CIA agents. So the mob never really rocked with him or never really reached out and touched him like they wanted to because he did so many things against the New York City carpenters and plumbers unions and trashmen unions. They never reached out and touched him because of his bodyguards. Because you know what I mean? Like, although these dudes not agents anymore, they still got resources that could tap into the agency. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you ever get a chance to watch that interview, man, and Samuel Bull Gravano tell you exactly who you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
That dude should he should be sentenced to death. We did it to Benedict Arnold. Um, Ed Snowden can't come back to the country, you know, and we ain't even heard about the fact that he tried to go into other countries. He tried. Argentina told him no. Cuba told him no. He tried to go into like 3 or 4 other countries after the presidency, and they all told him no. There's a reason for that, man. That dude is treasonous.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. Badger, what's on your heart, Badger?
I mean, I'm still on what I was saying earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like it, I, man, there has been so much that's went down and happened, and I've come to realize that there are people are so lost in this country right now that they honestly think someone like Trump is a good human being.
Mm.
So, I mean, it doesn't matter the facts you present or anything. People are tired of struggling. They want they they want jobs. They want to be able to survive and live off of what they work.
Okay, we switching subject. We switching the
So
topic here. Let's stay what we're talking about the Trump situation. I understand what you're saying, but let's stay where we are.
I think because Trump has so much influence on the American people, putting him inside of a jail cell would
Mm-hmm.
probably cause a very massive riot to where it would be a very split country more so than it already is.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, to me, if you're talking about putting him in jail or the January 6th committee and all that kind of stuff, there's a split in our country right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's people
Yeah.
that are realizing that, we don't need someone that's for the people. We need a businessman as president because he showed us that he can help. Da 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 da. Even though the fact of the matter is, before Trump got in office, our country was getting better. It was on the rise. Trump just so happened to get in the seat before, it really started rising. So he got the credit. And then he started making all these tariffs and all this junk. And now Biden's having to clean up after him. And of course, Biden gets blamed for all of Trump's mistakes.
Mm.
That's the way it always goes in the presidency.
Wow.
So they're a face, they're a puppet. Trump
Mm-hmm.
is a businessman. That anyone that has truly succeeded in this screwed up American society we have is going to be a massive role model. I mean, you might as well put up. I mean, if you're a basketball fan, right?
Yes.
He's the Michael Jordan of the business world. Everyone knows who he is. Everyone talks about him. So on and so on. He's successful. Oh, look, a businessman that became a president. We can be just like him. And he knows how to group and silver tongue the ignorant white folks. And I'm white, by the way, for anyone listening. I am a white boy. Half of y'all are ignorant. Use your brain. Do actual mathematics and research on government websites, not the news channel. And you'll find out how screwed up Trump really is.
Good deal. Good deal. Let me go to Monique. Monique, good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning? Monique, you there? I'll come back to Monique in just a second. We also have Cassandra. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
I'm great. I'm going to shake you up this morning, Cassandra. I'm going to shake you up this morning. I know what this is about to do to you, but we're going to do it anyway. Should Trump be incarcerated with everything that he done? And like I said earlier many times before, not on the state level, but certainly on the federal level, should he be incarcerated for his hand in the insurrection?
Is this a trick question?
Come on, let's talk about it.
It must be a trick question because if Obama or anybody else had done something like that, and especially Obama, they would have already indicted him and he'd be halfway to the federal prison. I mean, let's just be honest. It's no way they would have allowed him to say what he did and things come out the way they did and he not be indicted. It just would not have happened. So yeah, this man is guilty of so many things on so many levels. And it's crazy that we're talking about that because I was actually, listening, reading on some news, and I was seeing some of the things that they, a list of the things that they said that he had committed that had anybody else done it, it would have been jail time for sure. And we're talking about it this morning, but yeah, how is it that you can do what he did? And I don't care if they say it's just propaganda talk. That could be considered almost a war crime, as far as I'm concerned. It looks like a war crime because you actually came against the United States of America, and ignorant people still talking about he didn't do nothing wrong and he was trying to protect the how? That is total ignorance. And I don't know whether what Badger was saying, but I heard the ignorant. It just ain't ignorant white people, Badger. It's ignorant black people, stupid black people that actually believe that this man was some great man and the savior of this country.
Wow. Mr. Hicks, what's on your heart, brother?
I was just thinking, and would I consider whether or not it should be locked down. I don't think they had a chance to call witnesses. I don't think they had a chance to cross-examine witnesses. It's like Leonard was saying, this is not a legal process. It's not a legal thing. This is really something to stir up the emotions that we hear, to distract us from the eye on the target. Because basically it's saying they're going to all of these things, all this time, all this covers on all the major stations trying to influence mine, and they're not going to come out with criminal charges. They're going to send it to the DEA, Department of Justice, and see what they do with it. But it's really theater. It's theater, just like the other ones were. And I think and almost like this to the call, 59% of the people that don't see it the way you see it, the deplorables are ignorant. And if you're white and you like Trump, you're ignorant. If you're black and you like Trump, and I don't, but I'm just talking about what I see, you're Uncle Tom. You cast out. It's like you black, you gotta all think alike. And we don't think alike. We don't see it like. But we capitulate to the crowd. We do.
And you're absolutely right. We don't all think alike, and that's one of the reasons why platforms, I think like this is important for everybody to voice their opinion and say how they feel about it.
I agree too.
We're not gonna always agree, and that's a beautiful thing. Like I said, long we're respectful and treat each other with the utmost respect, we can have a conversation. We can talk about it. Curtis,
don't call each other's names either, like stupid or stupid, and all those that's names you call them there. When you're mature, you don't call. I mean, people can call me any kind of name now. Used to time I was gonna, if you said the N word to me, I was raised that we're gonna fight. I don't care what color you are. But I grew through that. Recognize you just can't call me a name and push a button because people knew this and they just pushed my button.
Yeah.
But when you start calling ignorant names and stupid names and stuff like that's not good, especially if you're a believer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Curtis, what's on your heart? Good point, sir.
You know, what's always on my heart.
Curtis, talk directly to your phone, brother. You're a little bit low.
What's always on my heart, right, is the fact that we have a tendency, for whatever reason, to apply rules to ourselves, but then don't apply those very same rules to others. Because I just heard y'all talk about name calling. And just as a little small example, the biggest name caller been the man that everybody that we're talking about right now. That's number one. Number two, let's look at it from another perspective, because see, this whole idea of a witch hunt, you gotta understand why that's being thrown around. That's being thrown around because everybody in politics know that if you ever want to stir up or create any idea that there's an untruth to an investigation, you call it a witch hunt, because this country historically is known to do just that. Okay, but I'm gonna look at it from a different perspective, Raheem, if you don't mind.
Let's go.
If you go to your lawyer, your wife call your lawyer and say, look, we need your help. We need you to get Raheem off. They got you up on murder charges, right? Or they got you as a suspect on a murder beef, right? Do you think the lawyer do the work? I just need to know, do we think that the lawyer does the work?
No.
He don't.
No.
His paralegal team is the ones who actually put the case together. Is it safe for me to say that, Raheem, or am I off the beaten path a little bit?
Yeah, no. You good. Keep going.
Okay, so therefore, here's what I call what's going on. We are sitting at the front table in the front row of the greatest paralegal team ever put together. You understand? And it's not a team like the Kennedy Commission.
Now when you say the greatest team, what are you talking about, on the Trump side or on the hearing side?
I'm talking about on the committee side.
Okay.
For years the rule has been, if you have one Republican vote on a Democratic piece of legislation or one Democratic vote on a Republican piece of legislation, the rule has been for years that particular piece of legislation is considered a bipartisan piece of legislation. That's been the rule for years. That's been the rule for years. Now you have a committee where you specifically have two Republicans sitting on that committee, and you could have had a third, right? And now we want to act like it's not a bipartisan effort. But at the end of the day, their job is realistically not to prosecute him. It is to give the American people the full and unequivocal evidence or knowledge of what really was going on.
30 seconds.
That's
Curtis.
what a committee is for. So we can't be mad at them for doing their job.
Yeah. That's good.
I mean, come on. Let's stop with these talking points, because the truth be told, if that was anybody else.
Anybody else.
Here's anybody else, man, they probably would have killed us already. You saw what happened to Jeffrey Epstein. They kill him in the middle of the night.
Good deal. Good deal. Stay right there, Curtis. We're gonna come back to you. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
No, just listening, and I hope that people would, if you want to know more information, you probably want to check the Constitution on how we deal with issues related to high crimes and misdemeanors, because that is going to be the playbook that they've used. And rules and regulations are set up for a particular reason. The President of the United States is not a normal citizen of the United States. We have our national security tied to this man. So, no, he's not going to be treated like a regular citizen, like everybody else. That's just not how he's going to be treated. He's going to be held accountable. But the procedures and things are not the same, especially since he's no longer in office and not, up for impeachment or anything like that. So his department, the Department of Justice, has to pursue the president.
Should he be able to run for presidency again?
Well, that's part of those rules. If convicted or if found treasonous, usually I think it's in Article 2 and 3 of the Constitution, I think, may provide the rules for those individuals who are charged actually with treason, who are guilty of treason, excuse me. And so, based on what the Constitution has in place, one of those things is removal from office, no longer hold any positions or anything like that. Now, his incarceration, that's going to be brand new. So they're going to have to decide. The Department of Justice will make that decision on what they will do.
Okay. That's good. Rico, what's on your heart, brother? And then he got a whole minute to go to spare. Look at that. Boy, you did at that time.
Yeah, I'm thinking along the lines, maybe the question should be, should all of this result in his incarceration? And the answer should be yes, you know what I'm saying? Since, we've been so thorough. I'm along with his right about now. If our president can't be arrested because you don't arrest presidents, then what's the use? If he can't be held accountable, like Milosevic, or if he can't get charged with treason and done the way it's supposed to be, is the way it's supposed to happen, what's the use? So if the DOJ doesn't decide to prosecute him for what he did, what was the use in all this? Now, number two, if they don't, then they're going to set a precedent that is going to let somebody else see that they could take it a step forward. See, that's the whole purpose of life, is for everybody to sort of exceed what the previous generation did. And somebody going to come along one day and they're going to want to be bigger and badder than Trump. And they might actually do something a lot worse, a lot bigger. Just actually overthrow the government and burn the Constitution, do some stuff like they did down in Iraq. You know how they go and pillage everybody's history and now you can't even go back and find it. They might actually set the groundwork for a dictator in America. Because he done showed you how there's a different set of rules for the elite, because presidents can't go to jail, because elite people can shoot people in the middle of Manhattan and not go to prison. Or because you can be young and wealthy and run people over and kill them and get out on affluenza. Or maybe you could just be affiliated with the DA and the DA say, well, we got the video, but we ain't going to release it and we ain't going to arrest y'all neither. The different set of rules over here. See what they're doing, they're also letting the regular general public start saying that, well, you know what? Government doesn't work. You telling me that these group of people called the elite have been saying in our faces the whole time that they're elite. We've been cherishing and praising them for being elite and being rich. But at the same time, we've been helping make this life better for them and not as good for us. They really do live by a different set of rules. See, sooner or later, the people going to get sick of this elite class
30 seconds.
And this privilege and this entitlement that certain people have. And what this is going to do is also make that momentum pick up. It's going to have an effect all the way across the board, because people are tired of seeing that they're living in a life where other people could get away with murder or do things that they can't do.
Wow, that's good. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We'd love to have your input on what we're talking about this morning. We're going to transition over to another topic in just a second or two, but Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Yeah, I see when how do you describe something if you want to describe a shirt, right? That I'm wearing, you say it's a blue shirt, it's a black shirt, it's an adjective. So when you're describing the way that you feel people are acting, and you say stupid, or that's crazy, that's a crazy act, that's an adjective. You're describing something. So if I wanted to describe how I see a lot of these people are behaving, because people say things to me and they're not always pretty, and I don't get my feelings hurt. It's like, hey, that's what you think of me, that's fine. So I mean, I didn't call anybody on here stupid. I did not say, anybody's name. Raheen is stupid. Leonard, you crazy for thinking. I did not say that. But I made a general description of how I see people react, and we have a right to do that. It's not a personal attack on anybody. It is an adjective to describe how people are behaving, the way that people are thinking, or the way that it looks like they're thinking. And I want to say this. When we look at the things that happened on January 6th, and if you can't get any more than they were just tourists coming in to see the state capitol, you stupid. I'm gonna say it again. That is, how could you see people using flag poles, throwing things at police officers to get into the Capitol building, and say, oh, they were just a group of tourists. They wanted to go in and see Nancy Pelosi's office, and they wanted to go and have a seat in the Capitol rotunda area. It was harmless. That is stupid.
Wow. With 30 seconds to bear. Good job. Anybody have anything else they want to say on this topic? And before we do that, let me get a number again. People asking for the number is 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Yes, we're live right now. Give us a call. We'd love to have your input. Anybody else have anything they want to say on this topic before we transition to the next one?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I thought the situation of the six and all those things have been a mixture in the crowd. I think there were some people that came there with evil intention. They came there with intention to disrupt that thing, whether they were police or undercover or what. But that was a part of the situation. But there were a lot of people there was just really to protest, to try to peaceful protest. Trump riled them up. People in the crowd riled them up, and it happened that way. But I think the thing, when I was saying, I wasn't pointing that toward her when I said that about calling names, because not before I even came online, I heard someone else on there saying about stupid and stuff like that. So it's not just here on this line. It's just in life. I think I was talking to my granddaughter the other day, and she's a Seventh-day Adventist missionary. She's been in Russia, Africa, and a whole bunch of different places. We have a conversation. And I was asking the same kind of questions we asked, like, what is a woman and stuff like that. And we had a discussion about that. She said, well, I don't see it as black and white, Abby. I said, well, baby, I understand that, and I appreciate that, but I do. I see it as black and white. If you say you're basing your life on this book was written here, that's what you're saying, that's your guidance. That's your measurement that we all fall short. Your measurement is against what this book tells you, how to treat people, how you should talk to the gifts of the spirit. You can't get two kind of waters you can't get sweet water and bitter water out of the well. And out of the abundance of our heart, the words speak. Our words are important. if we're going to have dialogue, you might want to express it like, and you can do that. And I mean, call people stupid. I've done it. I'm not perfect. Man, I call people wooden head niggas, eat pork, swine, man, all kind of stuff coming from that kind of spirit. But it was a spirit that was inside me that wasn't the spirit when I talk about being converted to this love thing. I don't know, getting saved, whatever it was, there was a change in my heart that now made me see myself when I stepped out of what I said I believed in. Before I was stepping out, I didn't even know I was out. I thought I was right. But the light came into me, now I can see myself and see how I fall short, make me adjust how I deal with people, because they're just people. But you can't win nobody with bitter. You got to use some honey. You can't talk. You got to just talk nice, be nice. Just because they don't believe with you. I'm out. I'm finished though.
Yes, sir.
But it wasn't.
Yes, ma'am.
Reed, I'm sorry, because I'm over here laughing because Jesus called people vipers. He said, "You viper." I mean, in our terms today, it would have been considered cussing them out. When they would be doing that, he said, "You son of the devil." Boo, 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 boo. That would be. I'm trying to figure out what I know. I know. Yeah. Okay.
Let your heart talk to you. It's hard to tell you right now.
One at a time.
I'm just saying.
Listen
but
to
I'm just saying. Have you heard some of the things that Jesus said to people when they were cutting up and acting a fool, even in the temple?
One at a time. One at a time. One at a time. Can't hear both of you. One at a time.
I'm just saying, we keep having this kumbaya Jesus that he ain't never said nothing, harsh or hard or everything he said. Well, oh, y'all so precious, yeah, y'all cutting up and y'all acting a fool and you're sinners and your mama is a whore, but y'all just good people. I just want to say y'all precious and please read the Bible for yourself. And I've read it multiple times. I've been in ministry over 30 years. If Jesus was the kind of Jesus, I'd really be in trouble. If he was the kind of Jesus that y'all keep describing, I would really be in trouble. And I think I'm in the wrong religious group.
Okay. Hold on, let me
go. Because he was not like that.
Hold on, let me go to Mr. Hicks. Mr. Hicks, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I think that's one of the basic things. I understand it. When you take things personal, when you take it's still a person. Like I'm trying to say, I'm not saying anything personal to anyone. In terms of the path I follow, I mean Jesus. Wow, man, I'll just follow that. But I looked to Paul. I looked to Peter. I looked at these books here that talks about these things after Jesus. The people that put what Jesus said in practice. How Peter put upside down. They didn't fight. I mean, Paul. I mean, the Gospels, the Holy Spirit coming in. So I'm not saying that. They got this Preacher Jennings, Joe, and preacher on television every time I go to the page, and said a lot of truth, but it's so hard. It just hits so hard. And I say, but that's okay. That's what he do. I'm not judging nobody. I'm just saying this here. And I've heard many people redefine Jesus, redefine the revolutionary Jesus. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I saw Jesus as the only example on this earth of what a man should be. And that was humble. That was kind. But at the same time, having the ability to call forth angels. Because I'm kind and gentle, but I got a billion inside this body and my spirit raise a whole lot of hell. But this spirit keeps that for the first time in my life locked up. It's under my control. It ain't gone. It's diminishing day by day. I was a violent man. I'm not bragging. I regret it. But it was a change of heart. Looking at the same scriptures that I was looking at before, I saw them different. But no. I believe you.
Hey, Ryan.
Yes.
Man, listen. I ain't trying to be disrespectful on that, man, but we got to do better, man. And you're going to put me in the corner after this, but there ain't no way in hell we starting out talking about if Trump ought to be incarcerated, that this conversation should have ended here. I don't know how we ended up here, but it just really not. It happens a lot though. This ain't the only time. But now I'm sitting back watching, and I'm like, man, this ain't even nowhere near. It shouldn't even be this serious. Number one, the question is simple, and the solution is simple. Now, if you want to say, should anybody in the past have had it happen to them too? Yes, they should have, and I'm pretty sure that were people just like us back then saying lock them up, but they didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So now we just trying to make sure they do it this time.
Mm-hmm.
We just trying to make sure they do it this time. Somewhere they got to do what they say they're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
They said that this is the crime punishable when you commit treason. Then they need to stand on their word. They need to stand on the Constitution and everything that they say they stand on, instead of having a different set of rules for the elite. Even if it was Clinton, even if it was Obama, whoever it was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good.
So I mean, you know, when we get down to the real nitty gritty of it, man. Listen, if we're trying to solve some problems or actually be of assistance to people just to clear their minds or to be better people, man, you know what I'm saying? We got to make sure that we at least try to address, you know what I'm saying, and not get too caught up in it. Because I don't know how this got here. I don't know if this was a defense of Trump or whatever, or just that we assume that all of a sudden now we just mad about Trump. And now we've been mad about other presidents, Republican and Democrat. There's been people they wanted to lock Hillary up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was a chance. I mean, so I mean, people speak up. People, they do speak up. You get what I'm saying? But just for how they doing it this time, maybe everybody should be clapping their hands that maybe this might lead to something.
Mm-hmm.
The government actually might stand and do what they say they're gonna do, and show us that this elite thing don't make you exempt.
Exactly. Wow. And it's amazing. It's amazing. The turn that it took. Because we start talking about a specific thing. We start talking about a particular thing, and then we start, everybody, put on their gloves and came out the corner, and and went at it. But my thing is, we're gonna switch this topic up right now, because truth of the matter, it's amazing how this thing worked, because it rolls. Seems like all the topics just roll right together. Our next topic is, and literally I'm gonna come to you on this one right here. No, I'm gonna go to Mary. Cause Mary with us. Mary, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Mary, I want to talk now about, before we're gonna talk about this, then we're gonna transition over to our topic of the day. But right now, I want to ask the question about compassion. What is compassion, and do we still have it today?
I don't know how you want me to answer that.
Mm-hmm. Are we still compassionate toward each other? I'm gonna read compassion. I pulled up the definition of it. It says sympathetic, pity, and concern for the suffering or misfortune of others. The victims should be treated with compassion. Do we treat each other with compassion today?
I think some people do. I think as a whole, everybody's not going to believe so, because not everybody thinks that compassion is the same thing. So, I mean, there's a textbook definition for everything, but if you ask us what love is, it's going to change too. So I think it depends on what your definition of compassion is personally, if you feel like you're receiving that from other people. And then, I mean, obviously there's bad people in the world, so no, I don't think everybody's compassionate, but I think that some people are.
Okay, that's good. Leonard, compassion. What is compassion, and do we display? And I'm asking you to answer the question with a wider brush than we normally do. But do we, as a society, as people, as human beings, do we exercise compassion?
Yes. We have government programs and everything.
Look at
what people you talking about?
Human being.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about in a particular. Yeah.
Yes, we are still compassionate. Yeah. Most definitely. That's why you have all these people helping one another. That's all compassion is.
Painting with a large, but no, I'm not gonna do that, because, like I said, we're gonna get in a situation where we're gonna go back and forth. But we're gonna get to that point.
No, we're not. No, we're not. We're not gonna go
because I'm gonna throw some. I'm gonna throw something out there. I'm gonna throw something.
You got to throw it first. Don't threaten me.
Say we say don't threaten,
Bring
Rico. There you go. I'm coming back to you. Trust and believe. I'm coming back to you. But I want to get everybody's opinion on this right here, man. But I like what you said though when you said yes, we are. That's why I'm gonna go a little further with it. But right now, Rico, what do you say to that, man? Are we compassion? Do we show compassion toward each other as a whole?
Well, we can't do it as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people show it and some people don't.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm gonna be short on this one, man, because you know what I'm saying. You call her Miriam, but ain't her name Miracle?
Yeah, I call her Miri. Short it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, she said something big, man. You know what I'm saying? That almost took me completely out the subject. Textbook definitions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want to get off track, but we had this definition about natural resources the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it just took me back to that definition, that textbook definition that was thrown out, and the fact of the logical definition being ignored.
Mm-hmm.
And so she said that was huge, because it really shows you individually, people have their own definitions, and these definitions aren't false. If you have enough time to just sit back and think about what the way they define it, you'll see, yeah, that is true. That is compassion.
Mm-hmm.
We are showing compassion. See, some people might have come on here and they would have said, no, we don't. I almost said that we don't.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought about it right before Lena said it. Because, man, listen, Monique got the call back in. That's all I got to say. Monique told me a story last night, man. And I told her next time she tell that story, don't never come out negative again.
Mm-hmm.
Because she felt like she had been manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
But after I listened to what happened and the part that she played, I said, man, you weren't manipulated, man. You saved somebody's life.
Wow.
They didn't manipulate you. They came to you because they knew that if they didn't, they was going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Because you was the only one that could help them out of everybody on this planet.
Wow.
They didn't manipulate you. They didn't plan to do what they did. It just happened that way.
Mm-hmm.
But the universe lined up that way, because had you not been there, somebody probably would have found them a week or a month later.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, man, I just tested and told her to call in, because she the one needs to answer that question. Do we have compassion? But I can say I heard a story last night that lets me know. Shoot, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's people out there with compassion. I ain't the only one.
There you go. Good deal. Let's go to Badger. Badger, what do you say about compassion? Are we still a compassionate people? And when I say people, I mean all of us across the board, taking race, color, creed, all this stuff. Human beings. Are we still compassionate?
I think most of us are.
Mm-hmm.
Some people you just gotta find it, but I also feel that there are some people that I really don't think have it.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that happened that's been on my mind, and it's kind of fitting for this topic, if that's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Guy from Guatemala admitted to raping a 10-year-old child.
Mm-hmm.
10-year-old child ended up pregnant.
Yeah, I saw that story. Mm-hmm.
And due to certain laws, there were people that were actually wanting to hold her accountable for going to another state to get that procedure done.
Mm-hmm.
10-year-old rape victim.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good, Badger.
That right there
Yeah.
shows the people that had compassion and understanding
Mm-hmm.
and the people that don't.
Wow. Good deal. I was kind of scared whether you were gonna be able to get that in the 3 minute, and you did very well, man. You actually got a minute and 55 seconds left. Great point. Cassandra, as human beings, are we compassionate toward each other? Do we have compassion?
I'm with several of our panel mates. I believe most of us do. But just hearing Badger, literally, I'm tearing up just hearing Badger tell that story about the 10-year-old girl.
Mm-hmm.
What compassion do we have as people if we are expecting a 10-year-old rape victim to catch, man, come on, yo, man, that thing, just thinking about that, man. What in the world? Are you kidding me? Where is the compassion in that? Where is the compassion in that? To subject a child to that. And no, it don't even have to be a child. It could be a 30, 40-year-old woman that is raped. And I know people that were raped and had their children, and they were good. But whose decision should that be, though? Oh man, that compassion thing, man. See, right there, that tells me you don't have compassion. If you can see a 10-year-old and still go with the same thing, oh, she shouldn't have an abortion. Man, you better stop going somewhere with me. No, I ain't the one. Okay, I'm done.
Wow. Curtis, talk to me, brother. And the Badger, when he brought that to the table, to the conversation, that was powerful. I want to thank that brother for doing that.
Thank you, Badger.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Curtis, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
In the midst of saying that, the power and evil is that evil always makes it seem like it's more powerful than good. That's my belief, right? But I'm gonna say it. If we didn't have no compassion, man, we would be Sodom and Gomorrah. God would wipe us completely out. There's still a few that's here, right? And the compassion of the people, in all reality, in my opinion, is in the majority. But the minority own the resources that the minority own, the resources that the majority need to survive. So people do what I like to call a Callahan theory. They go with what Master say because their livelihood is directly connected to what Master gives. Right? But the truth be told, as a believer, I believe that if there wasn't any compassion, God would just completely wipe us out.
Wow.
Yeah, I believe that.
That's I'm saying, you know how he told, what was it, Lot? Lot, find me one.
Just one. Yeah.
Yep.
Lot came and said, oh, hold on now. Come on now. You know these humans. Not gonna be able to find one. No, he told him, find me 10 first. Hold on, man. You know I ain't gonna be able to find 10 in the midst of all this foolishness.
10.
Find me 5. And, that's a tall order, God.
30 seconds.
I rock with you. I tell you what, you just get me one. One. And I couldn't find one. However, we have 6 and or 7 right here on this radio broadcast right now. So if you feel, although you feel a certain type of way about what's going on environmentally and societally around you, feel good in knowing that you're the reason why God has not wiped us out already.
Good deal.
How I see it, I'm playing right there, brother.
Good deal. Let's go to Mr. Hicks. Mr. Hicks, as human beings, as people, are we still compassionate? Mr. Hicks? Mr. Hicks might have stepped away from his phone there for a second, so we'll come right back to him. Toussaint. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Doing well. Doing well.
Toussaint, are we still compassionate, brother? I'll come back to you, Ms. Hicks. Yeah. Are we still compassionate?
Yes. Some are heartless.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to, and I don't try to correct anything, but I want to make sure that we clarify and get something right. Check out, and y'all go back and read the 18th chapter of Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll find the numbers that were set in order that would have saved Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yep.
Okay. Would have.
Mm-hmm.
Let me throw something else out to you. Before the flood, you couldn't get but 8. How in the world have we gotten to the point? We, think there's nothing new, right? So we need to check ourselves, because you got a whole world of people, and 8 were saved in the flood. I might be wrong with the numbers, but go check that out too. Go look at the flood.
Mm-hmm.
Find the flood of Noah, and find 8 people that were saved in the flood, according to Scripture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Look at the 18th chapter as the angels go, and you can look. Now you say, I'm not criticizing anybody.
Of course, it looks like Raheem is froze, Badger.
Do what?
Well, Raheem has frozen up, and I'm sure he'll call back in. And the conversation, of course, he was talking about was the compassion.
Yeah.
And when he asked me, of course, compassion is very situational. People have compassion for different things. Words have certain meanings for a purpose. A person may be compassionate about one thing and incompassionate about something else.
That's the other part I was thinking about, even with what I brought up, because maybe that person's compassion was actually for the unborn.
You never
So,
know.
like,
You never
right.
know. So you
So
have to ask.
this is one of those things where it is going to matter on what is mass versus individual, or what is considered by the mass compassion, which could conflict with an individual's compassion from time to time.
It's amazing to me how people claim to be so compassionate, and then when you present them with something, they find themselves not so compassionate. So compassion is very situational. You could have compassion for anyone or anything that is suffering. Anything. Doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. If you are actually sympathetic to the suffering of another person, place, or thing, or whatever, that's compassion. It's very situational. People who claim to be so compassionate can be presented with various situations and scenarios where they're not as compassionate.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
So even to claim that you are completely compassionate would be a little bit off. Ain't no such thing as really all of nothing in these types of scenarios. People have it's very situational.
I mean, if I was 100% compassionate, I wouldn't have said to cut off Trump's tongue, now would I?
No, you wouldn't have.
Mm-hmm. Let's keep this thing going, because Toussaint has something real good going on, man. We disconnected and we missed a big part of everything that brother said. So Toussaint, catch us up to speed, brother.
No, right quick. Check out Genesis, the 18th chapter.
Uh-huh.
you'll find the numbers right. You'll find the right numbers when they went to Sodom and Gomorrah. At the beginning, before the flood, I got an echo. There were 8 people that were saved before the flood.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what that says, and I'm going to shorten it up a little bit. We might need to take another look at ourselves because we're not all of that.
Come on now.
If you get a whole world of people and you can't find but 8 people that God is willing to save, we got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
In Sodom and Gomorrah, the number went down to 10.
Mm-hmm.
And look at it. Check it out. Go to 18th chapter of Genesis. Go look at it. Go look at the numbers. So that means out of all the people we got, let's just deal with the city that you're in. We might need to check our actions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because look, the men said to Lot, we don't care nothing about your daughters. We want them 2 men.
Wow.
And I'm gonna say like Rico, we want to bust them up.
Wow. Wow. Anybody else have anything they want to say about this compassion? I know a lot of people got a lot of things to jump in here on this compassion thing. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Yeah, no, we've given some great descriptions. I think everybody was right on target. I think we have a great lack of compassion, especially in this country when it comes to justice and equality.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have a serious lack of compassion in that area.
Wow. Let me go. We got Ibrahim. He snuck in on me, probably called in while I was disconnected. So Ibrahim, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing well. That's it right down the line. I picked up a passenger last night with Uber and had a lady, and she had a very challenging story of what happened to her in the last year or so. You might even see it on the news. But you talking about compassion, you hear people suffer it's such a great thing, and then still move on, and still has a affinity for other men. That's all it happened to her, and it's just and then a challenge of, and was shot and then was blind, and still want to move around to be with the man she loved and her father and everything, and independent and still needed, but not challenged and afraid. Very God. I wish I could have the time to tell, summarize the story, but it was very endearing, and I felt all kind of compassion what this lady had went through. So compassion is a real thing. It's suffering, especially as I and my family have seen suffering and can feel it. Deep inside when you hear it, and it just open your eyes to things and make you change your ways. One thing to have a standard or a life that you live, and then see how people suffer, and then the challenge and strength of when they come back is incredible. If I do summarize this, at a later opportunity today, I would like to tell this story. Now I'll try to. I try not to use the right name, but I will use the right last name. And y'all might get it on the news and exactly what happened.
Okay.
And how her 5 children were impacted by this horrendous event that she went through.
Wow.
And she's still out trying to be herself. She still has a great passion and love for men, and also a terrorizing, debilitating fear that would stop me from even going outdoors. The fear she had, but yet she challenges on. So that's compassion. To understand somebody's plight in life in comparison to your own. Those saying, I cried because I had no shoes, and I met a man that had no feet.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
You know what I mean?
So,
anyway, good morning, everybody.
Hey, good morning, sir. Good. Good morning to you.
Love her dearly.
Is that echo? You had an echo earlier. Did the echo go away?
Yeah, I didn't hear it that time.
Okay, good deal, good deal. Rico, what's on your heart, man? We're talking about compassion, man, and sometimes the lack of compassion that an individual could have. What's on your heart?
Well, I don't know. First, let me say this. I put out some wrong information yesterday. That those guys that robbed that pastor, that wasn't in Chicago, that was in New York.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? But I actually saw a report that said it was Chicago at first. So I just spoke from the wrong report. Man, I got a feeling too that hit's gonna be good for this one because this is pretty much what he was speaking on earlier, you know, with compassion and respect. I think people that lack compassion, they lack logic. Or they have sort of like a dysfunctional way of logic that convinces them that their way of thinking is right. And I think that comes from a selfish mindset. You know what I'm saying? Everything has a root cause. And I think, you know, when people get to a point where they don't have compassion, for whatever reason, it may have been because of their upbringing, it gets to a point where they convince themselves that they got to only look out for them. They don't care about nobody else. But see, there's still levels to compassion. You know, I think about the abortion issue. I didn't want to bring it up. And I was glad Badger brought that up about the 10-year-old girl, though, because that is a way of showing that some people ain't using any kind of logic. And they putting this little girl in a situation that logically she shouldn't be in, and logically no one should want her to be in.
Exactly.
But the way the laws are set up, she's stuck. So, you know, but at the same time, the other side of compassion is coming from those that claim that they're having compassion for the fetus. That's their fight. See, we don't see that part of it. And me, I'm neutral. I feel like a woman has a right, you know what I'm saying, but at the same time, under logical conditions. Not just because she out there doing what she want to do, but that's another subject. But man, I see compassion at different levels. I think Leonard may have been speaking on that. You know, we got kicked off, so I didn't hear what he said. But there's levels to compassion. Some people have compassion about what they love. Or just who they care about. They don't show compassion towards anybody else, or only towards people who actually respect them or show them the same compassion. People that can actually benefit them. I'm gonna show you some compassion because you an asset to me. So now they're being manipulated. But I saw a story, man, here in Birmingham. There's a guy up to get electrocuted, well, now get executed. He's gonna be the first one in Alabama in a while. Since, well, you know, Nathaniel Woods, if I ain't mistaken. Well, I've been a few. But the victim's family, and I mean, this victim's 2 daughters and her brother have gone to Governor Kay Ivey and asked them to spare this man's life. They said that they think it's cruel, and they cannot even imagine what it feels like knowing the date and time of your death. And I thought to myself, man, there had to be some compassion because, you know, when they want to execute somebody, they're gonna tell you how heinous the crime was, and it was a heinous crime. What he did to this woman, so low down and dirty. But this is done something to me. Hearing this story and then talking to Monique last night, man, it made me feel a lot better about life and the world. Hearing these stories, but these people do not want the state to execute the person that killed their mother and their sister.
Wow.
And they going on a crusade trying to spare this man's life. That's compassion.
Yes, sir.
So most people would want justice and vengeance, an eye for an eye. I would.
Good deal.
But then I thought about what they said. Man, this man wakes up every day knowing the minute he will be alive for the last time.
Wow. 50.
Man, that's rough.
Yes, Lord. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Mary, what's on your heart? Captain, coming to you next. Mary?
Had to find the mute button. No, I'm just listening along right now.
Okay.
I think whoever said the thing about the next time it's not gonna be water should say it again because we got knocked off, and I feel like more people should hear that. But I don't have anything personally that I want to say.
Okay. Cool beans. Captain, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning to all. I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking.
Good deal. Man, look here. You sound like you're in a more serious type mood this morning. Everything okay?
Everything's all right.
Okay.
Pretty, everything's okay.
Good deal. Good deal. What we're talking about right now at this point, we're talking about compassion, and are we as human beings? And we send our race, creed, color, all that, and we talk about human beings. Are we compassionate, or do we have compassion towards other people?
But the very nature of human beings is to have compassion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that compassion comes from the heart of those who understand what someone has gone through.
Mm-hmm.
If you have compassion for what you believe in, it has to do with your commitment, and your love comes from the heart. Compassion. You have to have compassion in the day, because God shows compassion to us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Also, in the word compassion, you'll find the word companion. Most people that have companions are very compassionate about their relationship with their companion. My wife is my companion.
Mm-hmm.
Along, have compassion, deep compassion, which means love for her.
Mm-hmm.
So in the word, you'll find the word companion. And I think that most human beings are people that loves to be in a relationship with a companion. And from that comes out of the heart,
Mm-hmm.
compassion. So I think everyone has the nature of being compassionate about what they believe in, and also have compassion for others who may be like mine.
Mm-hmm.
As I heard my brother Rico talked about those that are being executed, and then at the last minute they get a stay of execution. It could be that the governor or whoever fought for that individual to live a little longer had compassion about the man's case, or had compassion about the man's years of remorse, because many of them sit there and linger on the death row years,
Mm-hmm.
years,
Yeah,
before they get to execution. I think that is a more crude punishment than to take the life anyway. But I think every human being has in their heart compassion, but only based upon their experience and understanding what that individual is going through,
mm-hmm.
that you may be about their situation.
That's
I
good.
think I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You certainly did. I think we have Rosalind with us as well. Rosalind, good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning? Rosalind? Okay.
You got Navy, Mr. Raheem, but I don't know if Rosalind.
Oh, that's Navy. Okay. I've been mixing them numbers up. Good morning, Navy. How you doing this morning?
I'm all right. How y'all doing this morning?
Hey, doing good. Navy, we're talking about compassion. And as human beings, black, white, no matter the color, black, white, orange, polka dot, lily stripe, whatever you are, do we as human beings, do we have compassion towards each other? What do you say to that, Navy?
Well, compassion is the action of empathy. So, yes, I do think that we have compassion. I don't think that we always have empathy, though. But that's another topic for another day. But that's very individualized. And I think that, of course, it's not linear when it comes to how we show compassion and the level of compassion that we're able to show, because I think that depends on our level of survival and trauma that we're carrying with us, that either will enable or able us to show a certain level of compassion.
That's good. That's good. Mr. Hicks, talk to me. Compassion.
Oh, yes. I was thinking about when I was real little. I used to go to Sunday school and read the stories about Jesus, and how in that and I was my belief in it was so pure and honest, right? and then growing up and going out in the world and seeing the contrast and having that dilemma and facing that dilemma. And compassion when it was exemplified in the life of Christ. You know, everything. You know, we all know the story. We know, having the power and thorns on his head and blood and and you get to a point where you grow and you say, okay, that's a fairy tale. That's not real. But when you finally have experience in your life where you feel this power beyond you that can take something out of you that you couldn't do anything, you couldn't take out, psychologists and government sponsor all kind of treatments and stuff and medicines and pills, but it still be there, suffering, and then for that to disappear. And it makes you have a kind of compassion now in those situations where you are wrong, you're wrong, and that you have compassion to not judge them.
Yeah. Wow.
But you remember where you came from.
Exactly. Wow, that's good. Kurt, talk to me, brother. Compassion.
Well, there ain't much to say, right? There ain't much to say that ain't already been said. Having compassion, in my opinion, is to display those traits of empathy and sympathy. It's the ability to have or try to. I'm not even going to say have. I'm going to say try to have an opportunity or see an opportunity to gain some greater understanding of what a situation or circumstances could be, is, or was. Now, do we all display that? No, we don't. And do we have a tendency to display a false sense of compassion? Yes, we do. And here's how it all falls out, in my opinion. If you got somebody that's showing you compassion, but they're looking to receive something on the back end, they're not showing you compassion. They're exploiting you.
Wow.
Good.
All right. Listen, and I think that is where we have been misled in so many things that's going on in our world, even down to our elections. You got these representatives that jump up there and they show us this compassion, but at the end of it all, their compassion is solely based on getting your vote. And we watch them time after time show this compassion. And then once they get in office, all of a sudden,
it's gone.
The things that were stated that they would do to help you in your situation, in your community, and their situation is gone. That is exploitation.
Yeah.
Right? Compassion in my mind, to end compassion in my mind, is the sacrifice of oneself for the greater good of others.
That's good. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We love to have your input on what we're talking about. Now, I want to say a shout out to Big O. Y'all support me very much, man, and I appreciate each and every one of you being here. Give us a call. 508-924-3521. Let me go to Tucson. Tucson, we're talking about compassion, brother. As human beings, we ain't caring about the color, race, creed. As human beings, do we have compassion toward each other? Tucson, what do you say to that?
We got it, but we want everybody to know about it. You know how we post it? We do our arms. There we go again with this scripture thing, this Bible thing, or whatever you want to call it. That's all I know. But I think it's about Matthew's about the 6th chapter. He said, be careful. I'm just paraphrasing. How you do your alms, how you give to people. That you might be seen of men. And We photograph and videotape and tell everybody. We do it in our prayers. And Lord, I want to thank you that I was at the grocery store and I saw this man. He was asking for $5 or to buy him a drink. And Lord, I just thank you that I had $5 and I just gave it to him. And no, I just want to thank you that I was able to do it. No, you boasted.
Yeah.
It ain't about you.
Come on.
It's about the man that needed help. Here's another thing that we do now. Shut up. It depends on the person and how we help them.
Yeah.
We put some men above other men.
Yeah.
All they got to do is dress nice. Why we help people that don't need no help? Why we love people that don't need no loving? If you love people that love you, you hadn't really done anything. Anybody can do that.
Yeah.
The heathens do that.
Yeah. Come on. Tell it.
Ain't that something?
Tell it.
How we are. Oh, I love you. I love you too. Well, okay. That's your family. That's your brother. You're supposed to love them. But how about that person that you know that don't mean you no good?
Wow.
Love the hell out of them. That's what you got to do.
Tucson, you becoming very familiar with that corner.
They put Jesus in the corner.
Look at you becoming very familiar with that corner. I'm just saying you becoming very familiar with that corner. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
I get that from Leonard and Cassandra.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Well, I was just sitting here thinking, we will talk about compassion, and I was just listening. I sort of got sidetracked. So, when it comes to that compassion thing, like I was saying before, it's very situational. That's why, a lot of times people who are just so, how would you say, if you always, it's okay not sometimes to be compassionate. Don't lie about it. If you're not compassionate about that particular thing, I think you should say that. A lot of people want you to search for a reason. Find a reason. If you can't find one, I give you one. As opposed to just the feeling itself, and then making these huge judgments on other people without knowing or not having all of the information. Some people are simply compassionate because they have been through the same situation.
Yeah.
There's two sides of compassion. So it always is amazing to me how people claim to be so compassionate until it's something they don't like.
Yeah.
How compassionate are you then?
Leonard, they came. Let me pause your time for a second. The case that happened where a lot of people was complaining because the young lady came up and hugged the person that killed, I think it was her brother, in court, and the judge was went down and talked to him and combed the hair, something like that.
Okay, I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, was that compassion, or would you put that in the same category, or would you put it in the category of something else?
Well, I mean, it's compassionate to do that for someone, and that's between those two people. It's not for you to be standing out looking at it and trying to judge it. For whatever reason, that
because
person
this lady
felt sympathy.
Yeah, because this lady, she killed the young man. If I'm not mistaken, I might have my information a little bit wrong here, but she killed, if I'm not mistaken, she killed the young man's brother, and he was in court, and he said how much he forgive her and stuff like that. Am I on the right page here?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
you are. She a police officer. She
Yeah.
thought she was going. She went his man's apartment, and then she shot him dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Now, was that compassion? Go ahead. I'm starting your time back up now.
I think yes. It was very sympathetic. It was a very sympathetic act. My problem is when people want you to hate other people because they hate them. Why do you got to be in that business between that officer and that person that was about to be convicted? That has nothing to do with you. See, a lot of people go overboard and they want to put their feelings on everybody else. They think everybody should feel the way they want to feel instead of just listening. And then you get some type of attitude about how somebody else feel about something else. We've gotten to that point. And a lot of people, that's how things get started and mess keep going, because people keep insisting that you feel like they feel about a situation.
30 seconds.
Instead of being convincing. Why you ain't human if you don't do this, man, stop. You just different. You just have a different feeling. Feelings are a dime a dozen. There are some things that are just so heinous that rise to the level of what we would say, like say for instance, human right. That these are rights that humans have above and beyond constitutions, and they inalienable. You can't separate them from the right. Then you have civil rights, and these are things set up for how we show compassion to one another. We even have levels of incarceration and sentencing based on what the society sees as a fair sentence for a particular action or behavior. And then all of a sudden, so you got some people, well, they ought to get life in prison. But soon your child do it, it changes.
Want some compassion. Absolutely.
Or you get mad because that another person, like the people, they don't kill her brother or whatever. And so she still doesn't want the person executed and even would embrace that person.
Wow. Let me go to Navy. Navy, and I'm gonna ask you a question, and it might be an unfair question, so please excuse me. But
Okay.
do you think that you could find that compassion? Someone killed one of your siblings. Can you find the compassion in yourself to go up there and give them a hug and say, I forgive you?
That's honestly a hard question to ask, because off rip, me knowing who I am, I'm probably gonna say no. But that's not a situation that I am in, and Lord knows I pray I never have to find myself in that situation. But that's hard, and that goes back to part of the reason why I said that our level of compassion depends on our level of survival and trauma, and as to how we show that. Because I know, just being completely transparent and honest, I couldn't. But if that's what that individual needed to do in that moment, not necessarily for the person that killed their brother, but for them to have peace, then by all means, what they eat don't make me fat. So I support that. That's what they needed to do. But me, I just don't know if I could.
Wow.
Because no, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
Exactly. And see, and that's one of the things I love. I love the transparency that we have right here, man. And I definitely appreciate that as well. I came to you because I know you are a counselor, and you do a lot of different things. As with Cassandra, we're going to ask her. She's a counselor as well. Cassandra, could you find?
That's what it is. That's what it is. She's a counselor.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering why she was so good with them words, man. Because, I mean, she was like, the stuff I was saying, she's saying in so many simple terms. I'm like, man, she just put that together in like 6 or 7 words.
And you had
I get it now. I get it, because she killed it every time.
And Rika, what you say? You had to almost write a book, and she do it in 6 or 7 words.
Man, just knock it out the park. I mean, like she just said that real quick. Levels of compassion based on your trauma.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah, she got it, man. So I get it. I understand now. I get it. Go ahead, Navy. Do your thing.
Oh, okay.
Y'all.
Rico said, I gotta jump in right now, boy. Look, I ain't working no rotation. She I done figured it out now. But that's good, man. That's good. Cassandra, what do you say to that? Could you find that level of compassion? Someone killed your siblings. And I don't want to get go too deep on this thing, because I know the situation that you just went through not too long ago. Could you find that compassion?
Yeah, I could. And actually, I have, the police officer that killed my nephew in South Carolina, did an apology, and for me, I accepted. My sister, of course, is in a different place. She's coming around now, but she was having, a hard time. She said, "I don't care what she say. I don't care. She killed my son." And I get it. I get it. And he was my nephew, and we were extremely close. But we're at different places. We're at different places.
Yeah.
So then I accepted her apology, boom, 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 boom. And it's a done deal for me, because when we hold grudges or whatever against people, it does us more damage than it does the person. So I was able to forgive the lady when she asked us for forgiveness.
Wow. That's good. And that took, truth of the matter, that took a huge weight off of you, because you don't want to have to carry that. That took a huge weight off you. Badger, what do you say to that, man? Can you find that level of compassion?
Depends on which family member.
Wow.
I mean, I'm just being honest.
Absolutely.
Like, me and my sister went through so much stuff in life that someone hurt my sister. It might not end well for him. But my mother,
come with love. Come with love. Come with love. Come with love.
May God bless her soul, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Wow. Captain, what do you say to that, Captain? Could you find that level of compassion?
Well, I think sometimes you confuse compassion with forgiveness.
Good point.
Everybody does a very good job of showing in the word compassion, empathy, and sympathy. You can feel sorry for some individuals that have gone through a trauma experience. That was the reason they may have something to do with taking the life of your loved one. I still don't say, "I forgive you, I can forgive you," or "I can forgive you." You don't have to have compassion. I can forgive you just based upon the fact I need peace of mind. I'm not compassionate or showing you compassion because you killed my loved one. I'm not forgiving you for that reason. I'm forgiving you so that I can have peace of mind. Because if I don't, then I'm torn every day.
Exactly.
So I forgive God to give me peace of mind. I don't have compassion towards you. I can show sympathy. I can show compassion to someone who had killed my mama, for sake. If somebody killed my mother, I go down and hug them just so I could be able to strangle them. I just want to get close to them. That's all. That could be a deceptive move. That situation in Dallas, Texas, where the lady killed that man, that police officer. I've seen the same thing happen in Akron, Ohio. Here's this police chief had 8 officers that shot this guy 60 times. He was at a unity rally. And as the police chief sat there, everybody got on the stage, all the preachers, and they got to forgiving the chief. And they had the nerve to say, he's our neighbor too. Well, the other people in the audience like, what you mean he's our neighbor? 8 of his officers just shot and killed the man we here for. How's he our neighbor? So, people are showing compassion or empathy. What's that? But I don't think, we can confuse a person's forgiveness to be compassion. I think that's the road to go down. Whether you want to forgive or not, but it don't have to be. It could be ask for forgiveness so that you can have peace of mind. So that's my spiel.
Good deal. We're gonna transition over to our topic of the day. We got somebody that's called this from an 815 area code. They want some attention. They keep calling with a lot of noise in the background. So if you're a serious caller, turn the noise off. We'll come to you. We'll definitely let you be a part of the conversation. If not, go find something to do, because this is not what you need to do today. Anybody else have anything they want to say about the compassion before we move on? Cool beans, cool beans. I think we nailed that one. So we're now gonna get to our topic of the day. Let me start off with I'm gonna start off with Rico. Rico, we're gonna start this topic off with you, brother. You with us?
Yeah, I'm right there.
Is there or can there be love in violence?
In violence.
Yes.
Not at the moment it's going on. No, I don't. Ah, man, man, you probably should have came to me a little bit later, man. I don't think there can be love in violence. Unless you love violence. If you crave violence, then yeah, there's probably a lot of love in it. You know, you probably go out and look for trouble. You know, like to strike up and start stuff. You get what I'm saying? Instigate, because you just have that necessary urge for violence and destruction. So I think the only way that can be love in violence is if you are in love with violence. Other than that, there can be no love involved in it, because you can't love somebody that you're harming, and ain't nothing good come from being violent, unless you're defending yourself.
Okay. Good deal.
Protecting yourself. So I mean, yeah, I don't think you can find any kind of love in violence. No.
Okay. Good deal. Tucson, what do you say to that, man? Can there or is there a love in violence?
I think it's a misguided love. Because there are some people that swear up and down that their companion, they walking around with a black eye, and they say, but they love me. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't, they just don't want me to do that like that. They was looking out for my best interest. But then, if you do something to my child, not the baddest person in the world, and I'm not violent, but I promise you, I will get violent because I love them.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do you something. I don't even have to be close to you. They got some things that'll get to you. You hear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Grandchildren. Oh yeah. I mean, so it depends on how you look at it. I mean, but if you say I'm doing this to you, and if you do it harm to a person, and you say you love them, it's a misguided love. And that's just my opinion.
Good deal. Mary, what do you say to that? Is there love or can there be love in violence? Find your mute button, Mary. Mary, are you there?
I'm still here.
Okay. What'd you say?
Is there love in violence?
Yes. Is there or can there be love in violence?
I think so.
Okay. Explain.
I mean, because I feel like violence make your children, and parents always say it's because they love you. So that's my biggest argument.
So the parents spank you and they say, because I love you is why I'm doing this? Okay.
That's what they say. But I feel like it's just violence speaking English, because if I just spank someone random in the street for doing something they're not supposed to do, that's like, assault. So I feel like we're still violent.
Wow. That's good. Let me go to Ibrahim. What do you say to that, brother? Is there or can there be love in violence?
You know that is a question that you always see. Violence with love, right? January 6th. People convinced that was love for their country. They was going to do these acts of violence. Charlottesville, love of the country, love make America great again. Violence done to somebody else. Iraq, Iran. We stopped the nuclear war. Violence done to hundreds of thousands and millions of people. And that is love for the country. They don't love us, so we gonna kill them. Like the young lady said, and I was talking about earlier today. One of my share riders, Hamilton. She was shot in the back of her head. And by her husband. He's doing 50 years. He's doing 50 years without parole. 55 years without parole. That's a life sentence in Georgia.
Yeah.
They call it dark days. But anyway, you know, and she still has love for men. You know what I mean? She still dates men. And you know, I picked her up at to her dad. She trusts me. She trusted me, taking her a long distance, right? My conversation, we're stacking up a conversation. We're telling about her plight and everything. And she's blind. She'll never see the rest of her life. You know what I mean? She can't even get an implant.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? A vibrant woman, 6 kids. You know, and the kids are traumatized, and she's traumatized. But still, she has a love for life that she's not going to be set down, right? But the violence was done by her husband because he was jealous. Now, jealousy, love, I think love is the most selfish thing you can say to me, right? Especially when you meet me. Because that means that something I do for you, it's not unrequited love. It's not innocent love you have for a child, right? It's a love that you're saying that somehow you make me feel a certain way. I feel a certain way about you. And if I don't get this, then I'm going to strike out at you.
Wow.
So, yes, love can be a very cruel thing, right? We want to think of love in altruistic terms. But if you love somebody, they do something that makes you angry, that's what it is. You just have acted out on that violence. You know what I mean? But it's still real. It's still a real issue about how you feel about love. You know, that, you know, but love is a developed thing. That when you have compassion for a person, when you feel it's a growth, it takes years to develop a love with a relationship. I sure what anybody said.
Yeah.
You know, after 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you're still the same person. You can call it what you want to call it. Y'all probably want to shoot each other, you know, any given time. Just drop a hat, right? Full club.
30 seconds.
But that is love in itself. How can
Wow.
you do that? You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that we confuse love with the altruistic terms with some kind of religious ethos or some type of, you know, it's just a real thing. Love can bring violence, right? And we demonstrate our love for different things by violence. To kill this, right? To Ibrahim, you know, Abraham, you know, he brought his son.
Yeah.
He brought his son to be, you know, and God showed him compassion. You know what I mean? You know, so that was our love for his belief in his creator. He was ready to sacrifice his firstborn, Ishmael.
Now, Ibrahim, hold on, Ibrahim. You're over your 3 minutes, brother. You about to shift gears on me. Hold on for a minute. Stay.
Why you listen to me like that?
I said 30 Ibrahim. I said 30 seconds, brother. You weren't even listening to me. I said 30 seconds. I said 30. You ain't gonna get me with that one this time. I said 30 seconds. Yes, I did. Yes, I.
Give me 4 minutes.
No, sir. Look here. No, sir. No, sir. Let me, Cassandra, what do you say to that? Is there love? I appreciate you, Ibrahim. Good deal, man. Is there, Cassandra, is there love? Can there be love in violence?
Raheem, I'd like to pass on this one, please.
Okay. Let me go to Navy. Navy, what do you say to that?
I think I don't know. I automatically think about a childhood situation of mine, and where there was violence that said that there was violence that was shown, but it was supposed to be love. And for me, that was a very warped sense of love. Now, if I am coming to the aid of my brother or my sister or a family member or somebody that I love, and in order for me to protect you, I need to bring violence, then okay, cool. But for me, for such a long time, love versus violence was such a warped sense for me because it was so rooted in my survival. If I did not, so sorry, my alarm went off, but if I don't know, it's kind of hard for me to explain other than the fact of the concept was very warped for me and it was rooted in my survival. So if I didn't show some level of love, then that meant that there was going to be violence coming my way. So I don't know. That's a little tough for me.
Good deal. Good deal. Leonard, what do you say to that, man? Is there love and violence?
I think you're saying it wrong. It's a motive for violence. Love can motivate violence.
Wow.
Most certainly. Miss Navy just she was giving it an example. Your love for someone can motivate you to be violent against someone who would try to injure or hurt them. So love is motivated. Violence is motivated by something. It can be motivated by anything, especially something that someone doesn't like or care for, or frustrates or upsets them.
Mm-hmm.
That may motivate you to be violent. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but I'm still I'm having a hard time on the love part, because with the violence, if then let me stop your time first before I say anything. Stop your time. Um, if a young lady, I'm gonna use the lady as an example. She says she loved this man, and every time something don't go right, she has a tendency to be violent toward him. Is she really loving him? Is she really in love with him? Or help me understand that part.
Yes,
That's how we.
she probably loves him, but
Mhm.
whatever behavior that occurred motivated her to be violent.
Mm. Do you hurt the things you love though?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, sometimes you do. I think
Mm-hmm.
we I'm not God.
Mm-hmm.
So all I have is what I've observed.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
Okay.
if a person says it wouldn't seem like it,
Mm-hmm.
but we had
Exactly.
a great example. Parents been lying to their kids then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Think about those lies
Mm-hmm.
that
Okay.
every parent who has ever beat their child has used.
Mm-hmm.
Because every child that is beaten is not told they're loved either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So one, we should, put it into a perspective of it's violence is motivated by something. Violence could be motivated by lots of different things.
And love could be one of the motivating factors.
Yes, they can. We may
Wow.
be, we may, some people love this Constitution so much they'll go to war.
Mm.
Some people may love a gang member of theirs so much that if you do something to them, they go do something to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So it motivates violence. It can be a motivator of violence. Love just don't have to be one thing.
Mm.
Not from
30
a
seconds.
human perspective,
Mm-hmm.
but we should not use God's perspective
Mm-hmm. Okay.
when describing sometimes certain things.
Okay.
I think that if you run that God is love thing,
Mm-hmm.
then you'd have to explain why God has done some of the things that He has done.
Mm.
You know,
508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Curtis, coming to you, brother. Is there love in violence?
I'm gonna go against the grain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna and I'm gonna say that from a human perspective, most of us actually don't know how to love anyway.
Mm.
Because love is unconditional. It has no hidden agenda or secret motive. You
Mm-hmm.
can't turn it on, you can't turn it off. You can't turn it up and you can't turn it down. You can't run from it. It's the one thing that is consistently there,
Mm-hmm.
irregardless if you're angry or whatever. But um, it is how I feel about this topic. It is the most powerful force on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think violence comes into play because most of us do not know how to love.
Mm.
I think us, without admitting it, we put a whole bunch of conditions on love. And then once a person appears to not meet those credentials or conditions, now we mad because we don't understand why we love this person so much. When in reality, you love this person so much because love is something that you can't control anyway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. Okay. That's good. That's good. Let me go to I don't think I touched Captain on this. Captain, good morning. Good morning again, sir. Is there love in violence?
Well, we could say there's some people that love violence. If we flip that script, is the in violence? Well, let me say this. You know, there are people on a sexual level, as they make love, they like it to be very violent, very aggressive. Some may even say violent, smack me, pull my hair, beat me. Well, some people may perceive that to be violent, but the individuals on the receiving end may love it. They may love it. That I like what Brother Curtis said. You know, love is what it is. You can't make it more than what it is. But at the same time, when you made mention about a woman finding her man cheat, she loving, and all of a sudden, you know, that love, of course, turned into hate. The opposite of love is hate.
Yeah.
And when you go from loving someone to where you hate that individual, then hate, you would find violence in hate, but you won't find violence in love. And we kind of mixed the two. So if I came home, I'm in love with my wife, and she cheated on me, and my commitment to her has been so sincere that I mean my nose is wide open, and then she cheats on me after all that I've done for her. That love could turn into hate, and then that hate, it could turn into violence, because it's easy to kill or to violate something you hate, but it's hard to violate something you love. You can't violate that you love. You can't execute violence on that you love. You could do it on that you hate. So when your love turns to hate, you're going to get violence.
Yeah.
And there is some people, as I said, that love violence. That's just, they love violence, man. They just, the way it is. They just individuals that have been shaped by a world of violence, a culture of violence. So now they take that mindset that violence is cool. That's my take on it.
Good deal. Good deal. Let me go to Badger. Badger, what's on your heart, brother? Is there love and violence?
Captain Dennis beat me to it. I was going to say it. Sometimes it's going to be a matter of opinion based on the individual. You know how many couples are into S&M?
Yeah, there's some out there. Yeah.
Bondage. All that kind of stuff. So, like, but that's not for everybody either. So, it's, for one, learning not to be judgmental of those people, but to learn to figure out when it is just straight up violence. Because I also agree with Leonard. All acts of violence stems from something. And to me, violence always stems from a fear. It's always fear. Fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of whatever. It's fear. So that's something I don't agree with, or based on my own opinion, like Captain Dennis said, I don't think hate is the opposite of love. To me, fear is. And it's just one of those situations. Like, a lot of us have abuse stories. A lot of us have all kinds of things like that, and neglect. Sometimes some of those parents, in their head, they did the absolute best they could because that's all they knew. You know, so is that saying that they loved us or didn't love us?
Wow. Yeah. Good deal. Cassandra, they said they asked a question. I know you didn't want to talk about that part of it. So let me ask you this. Is it true that some people just don't know how to love? And that's where the whole dilemma comes in.
Yeah. A lot of people, they've never had a real pattern of what love is. You know, they've never really seen it. You know, I think the biggest thing takeaway on talking about love is what kind of love are you talking about? Because if you're a Christian, you believe that there are 4 types of love defined in the Bible. You know, phileo, or, you know, eros. You know, so there are different types of love that they describe, but the greatest of those is agape, which is the unconditional love. I think Curtis mentioned it, that you have for someone. And I believe if you walk in agape love with someone, you can't turn to violence. You can't. Now, if you're walking in eros, which is the love between a man and a woman, and it got to do with your sexuality and all that, then you're talking something totally different.
Yeah.
But if you are talking about the agape love of God, no, you can't. You're not going to be able to do violence to a person that you say that you agape. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's just not going to happen.
That's good. That's good. Rico, talk to me, brother. Rico, you there?
Yeah, man, I had to get this screen down, man. You know, I pretty much can't do nothing but reiterate what I said earlier. You know, and Captain D pretty much summed it up too. Like I said, you can have a love of violence, and that would make you, you know what I'm saying, have, you know what I'm saying, love in it. But, you know, when we start talking about sexual experiences, you know, you can love BDSM with anybody. You know, pedophiles love little children. See, that's a different type of love. That's a love of something. But there can be no love and violence unless, like I said, I think Navy hit it and she went a little deeper. I said it earlier. Unless you are defending what you love and protect, which is yourself. Like, self-preservation is the #1 rule of life.
Yes, sir.
So I actually put it in the chat that self-love, I put it enabled, but Leonard said it better, motivates violence. But the thing is the person that you are committing that violence on, ain't no love in that. So I look at it that way. If you say if there is love and violence, I'm thinking that if you're asking me if I'm committing the violence, is there any love when I'm committing it?
Yeah, yeah.
If anybody is committing violence, is there any love involved when they are committing it? Because whoever is on the opposite end of that ain't really thinking about no love. So that's why I said it. That's why I said it from the beginning that no, there cannot be. Because it ain't too many people that you want to choke to death because you love them.
Yeah, yeah.
You might have loved them, that you choking them to death because they hurt you. You cheating on me.
Let me stop your time for a second.
Everything I did for you.
Hold on, Rico. I just stopped you. I stopped your time for a second, and I want to reiterate something that you just said was so powerful, man. If you love this person, you love this person, you're in love with this person, and you are choking them, what happened to the love during that time while you're inflicting that violence on them? That's a big part of the question. What happens to the love? Now you love this person, in love with them, but now you're choking them. Where does their love go? Go ahead, Rico. Start your time back.
It went to you and your feelings and your emotions. That's where that self-love comes in, and that's what motivated it. It wasn't because you ain't choking them because you love them. You choking them because of him. You know, you made the example that the woman hit the man because he didn't do something she wanted him to do. Well, she got violent because he didn't do what she told him to do. So she didn't show an act of love. She didn't show a display of love. She showed a display of selfish love towards herself. But it definitely ain't shown toward him. He ain't taking that beating and saying, "Oh, baby, I love the way you do this. I just keep doing it." The more you do it, the more I know you love me. Just beat me. Matter of fact, I ain't gonna buy you nothing. Hit me some more. Get loud. Show your tail in public. As a matter of fact, slap me in public. That just shows me how much you love me.
Wow.
That don't make too much sense
at all.
So ain't no love and violence, not when you the victim.
Let me go to a Navy, and it was asked and said, what about the crime of passion for someone you love? What about the crime of passion, Navy?
What about the crime of passion?
Yes.
Like, I'm gonna kill someone because I love you?
Betty, let me come. What about the women? There are some women out there, and maybe some men as well. But I've heard women say that if you don't hit me, then that means you don't love me. How do you take that?
Oh, that is. I may need a minute for that one just because that hits home for me. Not that I was one of those women, but I very much grew up in the environment, but it was opposite.
Yeah.
The way that my mother's first husband felt like that love was shown was through dictatorship. And if I love you, then I am going to discipline you and beat you into submission. So that's why I said that whole concept of love it does come with conditions. I know we would love to think of it universally as unconditional love, but I had to unlearn that unconditional love doesn't mean unconditional tolerance. Because in my household, it very much was, you're going to take what I give you because I love you. But it didn't feel good though. And that was such a warped concept for me to unlearn, because I'm like, well, are we supposed to keep like going through this hell because this claims to love us and he's in a position that's supposed to show love? You know, as my stepfather, you're supposed to love me and my mom, but you know, we going to war every other day in here, and you know, these bruises don't really show love, but that's how you're telling me that you love me. So it's just a warped concept. And I think that it comes back to how it was shown to you. And I think Ms. Cassandra said it earlier. Some people just don't have healthy patterns of what love looks like. And then whenever we get into these relationships, we don't understand how to display a healthy version of love, because it either wasn't shown to us or only glimpse of it was shown to us. It was rooted in something else. And for me, it was rooted in survival. Wow. So what love looks like and feels like for me is going to look different for the next person. Absolutely. And each person after that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Curtis, talk to me, brother.
What is it that you would have me say, brother?
Let's deal with the element we just put on the table. Some women and some men also think that if you're not hitting me, that means you don't love me. What type mindset is that? And I'm sure you've experienced some people that even thought that way.
That is oh man, the words kind of escape me right now, but that is like an enabler kind of love. That's not that is a lack of understanding of what genuine love is. I've dealt with situations where people were in that. Some people say it has something to do with Stockholm syndrome. Other people say it has something to do with battered woman syndrome. And if you really look at it and evaluate it from where it is exactly that. It is battered woman syndrome. I've never understood how people could accept it. But once again, I'm not a woman, so I can't speak on that per se. The idea that a person would want you to abuse them physically goes a lot deeper, I think, to state some form of traumatic experience. And I think it has to be evaluated from a perspective of trauma-informed care. You know, a lot of people have traumas or go through traumas that they don't even know that it's trauma. So normal to them. You know, not to be off the subject, but I remember a time I was, I'm gonna keep it real. I was doing adult things with a young lady,
Mm-hmm.
and she asked me to. She said, "Spank me, Daddy," and it just took me somewhere I just was not comfortable, and I literally had to stop what I was doing. Like, oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with you? So did you just hear what you just said? Well, you think I'm just in it without thought? Man, don't you ever say nothing like that to me again.
30 seconds,
and
Kurt.
She genuinely didn't understand where I was coming from. It's funny you say 30 seconds. Now had me waiting for hours. But she genuinely
Man,
didn't
you ain't been waiting no
understand.
hours.
She didn't understand where I was coming from. And her time, that was acceptable. For me, that was not acceptable because as a therapeutic interventional specialist and behavior modifications person, I'm thinking, hold on, man. I ain't supposed to feel proud of that. This girl think I'm her daddy.
Wow.
Adult thing. So I don't know, man. I really don't know. Oh God, I really don't know how to. I really don't know
how to deal with that one.
It's deep. I can tell you that.
Good deal, Captain. What do you say to that? A person that say that if you don't hit me, then that means you don't love me. Does that make any sense? Captain, you there?
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, I'm sorry, my bad. I think what Curtis said was really on point because words do matter.
Yes.
And that smacking on the backside is an act of violence, no matter how you try to justify it. The person that's receiving it must enjoy the pain of it. Because ain't no way you smack a woman on the backside and she don't feel no pain.
Yeah.
In that pain, there's an enjoyment. There's some kind of gratification. Now he said something very deep. That's a means of serious, deep trauma that you would use the word daddy. You would use the word daddy. I think that you cannot commit any acts of violence on anything that you love. But I do believe that there are people that love violence. Period. You can't violate your loved one. I can't see it. I think when we use the word that we can, when we say we could choke someone, that's out of emotion. But really that's out of hate. There's only two things you can't. There's nothing in between. Either it's love or it's hate.
Yes.
You can't put it in between and say, well, that's an act of compassion, that's an act of emotions. They into their feelings, that's in that. No. It's either you love them or you hate them.
Yes, sir.
And you can have both in one day. You can have somebody, man, that says, I just love to hate you. I just love to hate you. But the bottom line is, I think there's only two motivating factors that would make you commit an act of violence. You can't put that on love. But when you lose the love, you get the other extreme, which is hate. And it's easy to hurt and harm someone that you hate.
Yeah.
You may not want to call it hate, but that's what it is. When you go to choke a person, man, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. You look like your daddy. Come here. Man, why you here, man? I hate the way you talk. I hate the way you look. I hate the way you walk. Hate produce violence. I don't care how you look at it. It ain't no emotional response. It ain't that they into their feelings. Hate. Only hate can motivate violence. Love, you can't find it in it. That's my spiel.
Good deal. Good deal. Leonard, talk to me, brother.
What you want me to talk to you about? I've heard a lot of things, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost. Sometimes I want to say to myself, maybe I'm just too immature for this conversation.
Mm-hmm. Lord.
I'm just making fun, but there's a search term called sadomasochism.
Mm-hmm.
Sadists, they like to hurt people. They get a sexual gratification from that.
Mm.
Masochists love to be hurt sexually.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they get off, and thus that term sadomasochism. One person plays one part, another person plays another part. And also we have to understand that this particular type of feeling is really associated a lot of times with the feminine principle. That the feminine principle almost loves to be subordinated to the pain. And then
Mm-hmm.
you have the exact opposite where you have some men go to women to play the opposite role in society, right? You know, what's common. So the man is, and it's like a power thing.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about it so like love and this, and love is not always there. It's just not always there. There could just be a relationship like, oh, I love tacos. So I like eating tacos.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
probably like tacos more than other food. I say I love it because maybe I can eat it every day. Or maybe every taco I've had, I've loved, and I never met a taco I didn't like. So,
Lord
you know,
Jesus.
sometimes we have to put some parameters on things.
Mm-hmm.
But conversationally, we throw love around all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not to be heavy about something, it's just for us to say how much we enjoy something.
Mm-hmm.
So, just like there are some people that are just violent, they get some type of charge from it. That's how they show their power by being violent.
Mm.
Some people react violently because of an inability to express their emotions and frustrations other ways.
30
So
seconds.
they react violently to something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we need to get out of this notion that love is this little sweet thing. Love is huge. Just because it's got 4 letters and you've always used it in the context of a positive thing
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean it's always that. So you have to make a differentiation, like Miss Cassandra did when it came to agape love and things like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mary, what's on your heart?
I don't know. I think it kind of turned into something else. I don't really know what I was going to say.
Hmm.
So I think it kind of turned into something else because it kind of went religious.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's take it.
I don't have anything to say right now.
Okay. Cool beans. Cool beans. Keep this thing going. Badger, talk to me, brother.
What exactly are we touching on?
Love. Is there violence in love? Is there
So
love and
same
violence?
thing.
Yeah, same thing. Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know what much more a lot of us can say.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's I think a big thing is honestly just learning to be aware and learning to tell the difference between um what is caring love versus love that a lot of people use as illusion to get what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And normally with the illusion comes threats of violence and all kinds of things like that, if not actual violence. Um, I mean, this topic's kind of simple. It's simple, quick, and to the point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good deal. Good deal. In-
Sorry about
Mhm.
that, Raheem.
Yeah, I was like,
It's
whoa,
just,
what's
it's just funny to me. It's
mm-hmm.
just funny.
Okay. Good deal. Anybody else have anything else they want to say before we move on to something else? Because we got about 20.
Yeah, man, because I don't want to leave here confused, and somebody else might be confused too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, the conversation is sort of twisted and turned a few different ways.
Yes.
But and I ain't bashing nobody, but I'm just basing this off of, you know, the information that I received. Because I look at this as advice and therapy too. Sometimes when I'm listening, I'm picking up something from people sometimes, and I think we sort of confusing the love of things for love. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I said, some people love children sincerely, and then some people love children in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the things that they love to do to those children, the reason why they love them. You know, but I heard Captain Dennis say that, you know, when you commit violence, there's hate involved. And then, you know, I think about what Miracle said about, you know, when children get spankings or, you know, discipline, is discipline really violence? Because if we actually just take these opinions or these points of views, then we are to assume that when parents whoop their children, they hate them.
Mm.
See, I don't think violence always has hate involved. You don't have to have hate involved. It just takes anger.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a little disappointment and not knowing how to control your anger. That's the way you respond to conflict. It's through violence. So, you know, I think you can really love somebody, but then don't like what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hate what they did so much because you love yourself and your emotions and your feelings, and you were crushed that this is the way you handled it. You didn't just break up with them and say, we over, I'm done. Get out, pack your bags. None of that. You decided to get physical. You decided to get violent. And so I sort of relate to what Navy was saying earlier, because when she was talking about her upbringing, man, that sounds like my mom and my stepfather. And I'm going to tell you something. There's nothing more confusing than being taught how to be a man, or being taught how to love or how to respect by the person that abuses you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good.
So, you know, we were talking about how people don't know how to love sometimes, man. Sometimes we really don't, because, you know, that is so confusing to have to learn how to be respectful, how to love from the person that was violent on you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is the way they responded. You know what I'm saying? I understood that was his trauma. He was brought up that way too.
30
but
seconds.
I do understand that if you harming somebody, if you bringing violence, there's no love for that victim.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And so I think we complicated this thing too much, man. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it gets too complicated, because I started getting confused.
Mm-hmm.
And even with the part about the discipline being violent, and then the violence have to be derived from hate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, you know, I don't think when I was disciplining my children, I hated them.
Mm-hmm.
But I was mad and angry and hated what they did.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And I might have done it because I loved them and didn't want them to get in trouble for it. So, I mean, you know, I think, you know, sometimes we complicate things a little bit. And I started getting confused on it.
508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Someone was about to say something.
Yeah, I want to say something in response to Rico. Rico, let me say this. You know, sometimes we want to put in our mind how we take people's opinion and accept it as our own. Sometimes some things just don't fit. If it don't fit, you dismiss it, brother. You don't have to try to figure out what this is right, this is wrong. It's an opinion. You're wise enough to know what you want and what you don't want. That don't make sense, and just dismiss it. However, you understand that discipline ain't violence to some people. All discipline ain't violence. You can't put every time you discipline your child as an act of violence. I don't know how we got that concept. You have a reason why you discipline your child. There's punishment and there's discipline. All acts of discipline your children not violent, and that's not hate. But if you discipline your child, you discipline because there's certain things that you hate that they do. I hate that every time I tell you to put up the daggone dishes and you don't come here. They don't hate the person.
Mm-hmm.
They hate sometimes what they do. So we don't want to get confused that you hate the child. No, you said it yourself. You hate what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's what I'm clearing up. That's what I was clearing up, Captain D. It was. I don't know. This might have been before you came on, but somebody made the statement that when you spank a child, or when you know what I'm saying, what was the word your daughter used, Raheem, about whooping a child or spanking a child, being violent?
I think what she say, discipline, or I can't remember. Mary, what you say, Mary?
I think she said spank them.
Mary, what did you say, Mary?
Oh, I was just saying, I don't remember the exact word I used. Either way, it's fine. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, go ahead, Rico.
But that's where it came from, Captain D. It wasn't that I was basing it off your opinion, but I was saying that those two pieces of information was put out there, and to somebody that listened to heard the whole thing, that would be confusing to them, because she said that was a form of violence. And I didn't agree. I didn't say it, but I didn't agree that discipline was a form of violence unless you crossed the line. But then you came back and said that it was hate involved in violence. And I was like, wait a minute. If somebody listening to that, what I'm saying, that, and they heard what was said earlier, that don't correlate. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, they confused it too. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I didn't hear that part. That's my bad.
Good deal.
I appreciate it.
Good deal. Cassandra, what's on your heart, Cassandra? Talk to me. Cassandra?
Yeah. I don't have anything else to add.
Do you think if a parent is disciplining their children in the right way, are they angry? Better question. Let me rewind. Should you discipline your children when you're angry?
I think it's the worst thing that you can do. And I've done it in the past, and I had to correct, my behaviors, and I had to realize that is not the time to discipline. That's the time you can talk to them, at that time. But when you're in the fit of anger, that is the worst. I mean, and kids can do some things that will flip you out. But that would not be the time to put your hands on them. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's warranted, that's not a good time.
Good deal. Kurt, what do you say to that, man? You're angry. Something just happened. Something happened in school. Your child walked through the door, and you get that call right when they're walking through the door, and you're angry. Should you discipline your child at that time, or should you wait till later?
You should do nothing when you're angry. You should do nothing when you're angry. Whenever you get angry, the first thing you should do is deal with your anger first. Deal with yourself first. Because what happens is, if you don't do that, what could happen is you could deal with the given situation inappropriate. It's just like, in the business of working in like RTC, we were always taught, and I taught as an instructor, that you never write a kid up when you're in a heated state, or if you're in a state. Because you'll write not sound therapeutic, sound it was accusatory and blameful, right? So you should never kind of correct that. You should never take any kind of corrective action when you're angry, period. That's in any given situation.
That's good.
That's just my opinion. I mean, I'm not always right. You know what I'm saying? I could be wrong. There could be somebody on here that says, forget that. When I'm mad, I'm going to deal with it right then and there. My them is always, well, how appropriate was it when you dealt with it? How did it work for you? You see what I'm saying? And I had kids I wouldn't visit it down in jail because they did not take heed to my instruction or the instruction that said, okay, look, get angry, you go and find a place for you to deal with that anger first before you deal with that human.
That's good.
So, that's just my thoughts.
Okay. Good deal. Hey, Leonard.
Hey, Raheem.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. All hail the good bishop.
Oh,
Leonard, man. Ever since I said what I said, dude, you on a roll.
Gregory Adams. You know, like he coming. He coming. All hail, like the angel. Yeah, hail the good
Man,
bishop.
man.
no.
Gregory
You
Adams.
going in that corner, brother. You going in that corner. You ain't
Come on, man.
no, brother. No, you make your way on over there, brother. You know where you got a permanent seat over there. You know what it is.
I love the good bishop. Come on, man.
Bishop, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Man, I tell you the truth, boy, y'all don't act up. You always instigate that. Thank you, Leonard, for patronizing them.
Yes, sir.
Good boy, I tell you the truth. I'm great. How you doing?
Hey, doing good, doing good. We're asking a question, man. I know you've been listening in for a minute. Is there love in violence? Is there love in violence? What do you say to that?
No, there's no love and violence. Well, how do you identify, or what are you identifying as violence? Are you identifying discipline as violence, or are you identifying the stuff that's going on in the streets as love or that violence? And that's what you want to make clear. So if it comes down to me as a parent disciplining my child, I'm disciplining my child because I love them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm disciplining them, because I don't want them to be and get themselves in any kind of unnecessary trouble. Well, I don't want them to think that they just have a free hand to do stupid things and they're not repercussions because of their actions.
Mm-hmm.
I heard you say something earlier, if I can, move in that direction. If you don't beat me, you don't love me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard women say that. When I was a police officer and I was, responding to domestic calls, and I get there and the lady say, well, if he didn't beat me, he don't love me. And I'm trying to figure out where you get this from. Where did this mindset come from?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it went back into what you were saying about the discipline or the beating, and the parents that whoop their children, and they say, I'm whooping you because I love you. And then they get overboard by bruising them or, do some physical damage. But that's what was embedded in them through that form of discipline from that particular parent, which was classified as abuse. But to them, that's what they would say. They were brainwashed that if I don't beat you, I don't love you. So now I got to deal with a man that's going to beat me, and he's going to tell me I beat you because I love you. But that is not the type of love that a woman deserves or a child should have when it's that physical to damage them in a way in which it's been done.
Wow, that's good.
I feel like, because I feel like I have something to say. I feel like some parents don't understand that the way they treat their child is what they expect from everybody else. Because nobody's going to love your child like you love your child. And you would imagine, I mean, most kids believe that too. Like, my parents are going to love you more than anybody. But if you come from, if I do something, instead of my parents trying to understand me, they beat me. That's how you find some kids that find love in the street. Or that's how you find some kids that find love in gangs, because it's like, well, they don't put their hands on me. So you might disagree, but they don't put their hands on me. And so you have that, or people that get in relationships and believe that their partners should put their hands on them because that's what they know. They know that if I do something that you don't like, you're supposed to put your hands on me.
And see, and that right there is that's perfect place for me to go from here. Cassandra, what do you say to this? Because you could be disciplining your children, and I'm not, when I say you, I'm not talking about you in particular. I'm talking as a whole. But you could be disciplining your children because they did something wrong. You could wait X amount of time, let time go over a couple of hours, or minutes or whatever, so you could calm down. But you go in and you discipline your child, and you think you're doing it for the good. But only thing that child receives is you're beating me. You're beating me. What has to happen so they can understand that I'm not beating you, I'm disciplining you because of what you did? How does that conversation go?
It has to be a conversation, and everything needs to be age appropriate when you're talking about discipline. Some people believe in disciplining your children physically, some believe that you don't. And that is your choice. But if you are a parent that believes in disciplining physically, you have to make sure, first of all, that the spanking or whatever it is age appropriate, and that you are talking to that child and explaining why you're doing it the way that you're doing it. I believe in disciplining physically. I believe in spankings. I just believe in it, and it's an individual thing. Everybody doesn't have to believe in it, and everybody doesn't have to, if it works for you, because there are some children that are so defiant that I don't care. You can talk till you turn purple, orange, and green. You can give them take away the cell phone, whatever kind of punishment. It means nothing to that child. Nothing. But if you spank them, they'll correct. They'll get in place. But I don't, it's an individual thing, but I believe that you have to make it age appropriate. And if you're going to discipline physically, and then you must talk to that child and communicate on their level why you're doing what you're doing.
Exactly. Rico, what do you say to that?
Man, there has to be some order and structure to discipline. First off, the level of discipline you dish out is determined by the degree of the violation. That means you just don't go irate and go to spanking your children because they drop a cup that you told them not to pick up. And then they have to, along with that order and structure, you have to let them understand why it resulted in you getting them a spanking. But see, we sort of blurred the line between discipline and spanking and abuse. Beating, like what slave masters did, that's what a lot of us consider discipline. I ain't gonna lie, that's what a lot of people consider discipline, is beating. But see, sometimes, like my sons, both of them probably got 2 whippings apiece from me. I call them whippings, but you know what I'm saying? It was organized and structured. You had a certain amount of licks, and these licks was gonna be based on how old you are. So you're 10 years old, come here. You got 10. Pop, pop, pop. But for the most part, I made them run and do push-ups. I didn't ever abuse them. See, that's the big difference. But now I was abused. I was beat. I know the difference. I didn't want to do the same thing. Because to me, I felt like that wasn't love. How y'all say y'all love me and you letting him beat me, mama? Oh, well, he beating you too and you staying? Dang, that don't sound like love to me. Remember, I've been on my own since I was 11. Out of there. But with my children, I didn't do the same thing because I knew how that felt. That wasn't no love to me. I knew how that could feel for that child to be on the opposite, on the receiving end of that. So I had to make sure that there was some understanding on why you was getting this discipline. And to be honest with you, I don't want to whoop you. Better yet, I ain't gonna whoop you. Get that book bag, put it on your back, and take off running.
Wow.
But you still have to have some order and structure to it. You get what I'm saying? But I think the bigger question is discipline or spanking violence? Because it's spanking and discipline is that type of discipline. Like I said, once again, it also depends on the degree of the violation of the severity of the discipline. But that type of discipline, if it is considered violence, then man, we're gonna have some problems.
Good deal. Good deal. Let me go to Leonard. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
I mean, you have problems now because you try to separate spanking and violence. It is violence. There's no question about it. You do it to hurt, to inflict pain and suffering. That's what that is. Because one, it is the less intelligent way to discipline someone. It is the easiest way to discipline. And sometimes it satisfies a person to use violence as a disciplinary tactic because it was used on them.
What do you say? What do you say to a person that will say spanking, long as it's done appropriately, spanking it ain't gonna hurt them. Shoot, I was spanked my whole life, and I turned out all right. It ain't gonna hurt them. Gonna teach them something. We teaching them something. What do you say to that, Leonard? Starting your time back up.
Well, yes, it will teach them something, but it may not be positive.
Mm-hmm.
It may teach them that they can do that to other people that don't do what they say. This is why you have so much violence in your community.
Mm-hmm.
And you all adhere to it religiously. It's like it's some rite of passage for you to whip your children. Discipline comes in many forms. You don't have to spank your children. You do it because it's what you believe and it's what was done to you. There are some people that raise completely.
Now, Leonard, there's some hard-headed kids out there now.
I didn't never say that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a way. Kurt worked with probably kids all day. I'm sure he's not whipping them. But he's probably helping a lot of them in changing their behavior and teaching them discipline.
He might want to sometimes.
Yes, but he doesn't because he's far more intelligent than that. And plus he has a lot more skills than that.
Mm-hmm.
See, when you can't talk and you can't communicate, you know what? It's easier to grab and hit somebody. That's why you do it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say that you're wrong, but I say that everybody have their own perspective and their own view on
Yeah,
how they
some people
deal with
believe
it.
that's also the way you teach a woman to behave too.
Some people do. Some people do. Let me keep this thing going. Bishop, what's on your heart? We're gonna get out of here in about 2 minutes.
Well, I'm gonna take 1.30 seconds.
God almighty, you greedy. You greedy.
Hey man, let me tell you something. As Leonard was talking, and I was really surprised. I had heard him say that the Bible speaks in the book of Proverbs about the rod and chastening the child.
Mm-hmm.
And to misinterpret, we don't want anybody to misinterpret. Because Leonard said it best. We don't. Discipline with a rod is a form of violence, but is also classified as a form of discipline. And you want to be careful not to abuse that position or that phrase that the Bible says. If you beat them with the rod, they're going to die. Chastise the child and all those things. The Bible says it. What slave master did, what Rico was saying, that was his way of controlling. And then we had gotten acclimated to that. So we started implying or applying the same level. They were abusive with theirs. And we try not to be abusive with ours, but we find ourselves being overzealous by whooping them, by giving them so many lashes until they feel the pain, or feel the hurt. I'll never forget, I'm going to get ready to shut up. I was 14 years old. My father was angry with me, and he whooped me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he did not whoop me, correction. He beat me.
Mm-hmm.
He beat me with an extension cord, a rope, a paddle. He beat me until I bled. And he did because my mother had agitated him about something I had done, getting him mad at me. And after it was all said and done, the next day, not the same day, the next day, he said, "Man, I whooped you like that. I'm sorry." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, you tried to kill me." He said, "I was angry." He said, "I'll never whoop you again." And which he did. He never touched me again.
Mm-hmm.
But that scar of what he did resonated with me to this very day. I can still bring it up. I still have the scars to prove it. The problem is, when I got my children, I vowed that I would never do them the way my father did me.
Mm-hmm.
I disciplined them, I whooped them, I spanked them, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, I never did them the way my father did me.
Mm-hmm.
And I always explain to them, I did this because I love you.
Yeah.
I don't want nothing bad to happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I appreciate this topic. Thank God for the panels and their views and opinions. And I loved every one of them. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for the opportunity right now.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Curtis.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you 1 whole minute, man, to answer this question about the action. I'm gonna give you 1 whole minute. So you're gonna be pressed to get it all in. Discipline. And with the clientele that you work with, do you think they were disciplined, or do you think the lack of discipline assisted in getting some of them where they are?
Right. I mean, that wow. You see that there is a lack of discipline. And the discipline that ended was not discipline, it was abuse. See, the one thing we tend not to look at when we look at discipline must come with some form of instruction. You can't beat a child and then not tell a child why they're getting a whooping. Child run laps and not tell him why he's not, oh, I'm just going to make you run laps. You can't make a kid put on a rucksack and say, I want you to run up and down the block 5 times without telling them why are you making them run up and down the block 5 times. That is abuse. All right. Some kids really do need a tighter version of discipline because they
to include the belt,
to include a whooping.
Okay.
Their history shows that they have never received any form of disciplinary love that could adjust their behavior. There's ways that you can go about. Now, in a professional sense, of course, I can't beat nobody. But with my kids, I did not spare the rod. Turned out fine. So, but the thing of it is I think we get caught up in the fact that a lot of times people go straight to a whooping first.
Yeah.
The most physical aspect of discipline is not something you go to first. You have to plant a seed of an instructory seed, and sometimes you got to talk to you blue in the face, because at the end of the day, you may not do the physical discipline. They're gonna get fit. Streets is gonna give it to them. If the streets don't give it to them, the prison gonna give it to them. That CO down there, oh, you can't. What? You had a shock unit in yourself.
Exactly.
And they will discipline your child. So I get where some folks don't go with discipline, physical discipline, and some folks do. But there is a middle road there. So no one is actually, or are they wrong? I think the one who is wrong is the one who goes to a physical discipline first, right off the muscle.
Good deal. Badger, this is the court of law, and I just want a yes or no answer. Okay. Did Trump need to get his? I'm reading like it was written on here. Did Trump need to get his butt tightened up?
Did Trump need to get his butt tightened up?
Did Trump need to get a whooping? Basically, yes or no answer.
What I want to say is
yes or no answer, sir. No. Yes or no answer.
I don't think it's enough.
See, he ain't even answered the question. Judge, he ain't answered the question.
He should have got tightened up about 10, 12 times. Yeah, he should have got tightened up. Yeah, he should. That is a classic example.
Okay.
Of discipline on a ride.
All right, hold on.
Hey, that's why I put it out there, Curtis. That's why I put it out there, man. Everybody needed a whooping when you were little.
Hey, sir, you no longer understand. You back in it.
Hold on.
You no longer.
You asked me a question.
You cannot testify. You no longer understand, sir.
When I know Trump's past.
Huh?
I know Trump's past. I can't answer yes or no because I know how he was raised.
Wow. Listen, this has been a great broadcast, man. It's 10:08 time for us to get out of here. Willa is not with us today. I know some of y'all are very sad and disheartened because of the fact that we might even get Rico to pray us out. Because I think Rico been listening long enough. He might got a good prayer in him right now. Cassandra, what you say to that? Rico might have just hung up. No, he didn't. Rico, what's what?
Yes, I think Rico is a great candidate to pray.
Absolutely. First, Rico, what's going on at 3:00 today, sir?
Man, if you missed today's broadcast and would like to see or hear the rebroadcast in its entirety, You can tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.dkmmediagroup.com.
Good deal. Rico, you going to pray us out, sir?
Nah, I ain't going to be able to pray y'all out, man. But I do have one little thing to say, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got to do it every time. You know, the problem is that we do have an issue with children that were being beaten and over-disciplined. But, you know, I have seen the prison full of people that didn't get discipline.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell the ones that needed whoopings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We have to understand that there, you know, everybody has an opinion, and then there are levels to this thing, you know, and people live lives a certain way. But, you know, I can honestly say that I don't believe in punishment like that, but I've seen people in the prison system later on that turned out to be monsters.
Mm-hmm.
And they turned out to be monsters because nobody ever put that belt on their butt.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Bishop.
Yeah.
We're gonna charge you today, sir. We're praying us out. Can you do that for us?
Yeah, I can take on that task, and you know, I know I'm not Willa, but I'm great. So
let's go, brother. Let's go.
Righteous Father, your holy name, Christ Jesus, our Lord. We bow here before you, Lord God, as humble as we possibly can. We give thanks, praise to you, Lord God, for all that you do and have done, and all that you're going to do, Father God. Continue to bless DKM Media Group and Associate Raheem and everyone that takes our time to call in. And as we pray, Father, we're praying for those who are on the bed of affliction, those who are troubled in mind and spirit. We know, Lord God, all of us need you, Lord God, and without you, we can do nothing. Lord God, you are more than a conqueror. Or we are more than the conquerors through you, Christ Jesus, that loved us. Thank you so much for all that you do, and continue to bless, keep, strengthen, and deliver. In your name, Christ Jesus, our Lord, we pray. Amen and amen.
Amen. Good deal. It's been a great broadcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your day. It is now 10:11. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And then we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Please be blessed. Play a little music between that one. Please be blessed. Leonard, what you say to that, brother?
I don't say nothing. I was getting ready to press the button.
All right, y'all have a great day.